next year. I'm on the canvassing board next year. So is your election.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, June 18th, 2019 Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners meeting. We're glad you're with us today. Today our invocation will be led by Commissioner Janet Long, and she will also lead us thereafter in the Pledge of Allegiance. I already had you.
Thank you.
Please rise.
Thank you, everyone. Dear Heavenly Father, it's Tuesday, Lord, and we humbly come before you asking for your grace upon us, for your wisdom to enter our minds and hearts, your guidance and your support of our efforts as we begin this meeting. Please help us, dear Lord, to engage in meaningful and respectful dialogue. Allow us to grow closer as a body of elected officials as we work tirelessly to nurture the bonds of our community. Fill us with your grace, dear Lord, as we make decisions that may affect our citizens, our young and old, and our families throughout our county and our region. And please, dear Lord, continue to remind us throughout our meeting today that all we say and do is in the pursuit of your will for truth and the greater good of you and the service of our humanity. We ask this and all we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Long.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm coming down for a presentation for National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. And with us is going to be Brian Lawton, the program coordinator, Kevin Petticord, the operations supervisor, Alyssa Barrow, the environmental specialist, and Craig Warren, the spray technician, and there may be even more. So please join me at the dais.
Yeah. How you doing today? See you. How are you? Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey there.
Nice to see you. Good to see you too. Hi, thank you. So I have the great pleasure to be recognizing National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. And lately it seems like I've been bitten a lot, so I'm kind of glad we're doing this. Mosquito-borne diseases have historically been a source of human and animal suffering, illness, and death in the United States and worldwide. Excess number of mosquitoes also diminish enjoyment of the outdoors, public parks and playgrounds, hinder outdoor work, decrease livestock productivity, and reduce property values. Public education and awareness of the health benefits associated with safe, professionally applied mosquito control methods will support these efforts, as well as motivate the public to eliminate mosquito production sites on your own property, which is really important. The American Mosquito Control Association is sponsoring the National Mosquito Control Awareness Week in an effort to increase the public's awareness of the activities of the various mosquito research and control agencies within the United States and around the world, and to highlight the educational programs currently available. The efficiency and morale of the qualified and dedicated personnel who work in the mosquito control program are influenced by public attitudes and understanding of the importance of the work that they perform. So now, therefore, it be proclaimed by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that June 23rd through June 29th, 2019 be recognized as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. And I have to tell you, Barry and I recently had the opportunity to go out and hear more about what you all were doing, and you all do incredible work. And we're very thankful here in Pinellas County for all the efforts that you do and the spraying that you do and the education that you do so that we do not have as great of a mosquito problem. So who would like to speak? Okay.
First, I'd like to say thank you to the Board of County Commissioners and the administration for their support for mosquito control, all throughout the year. I'd also like to thank you for recognizing next week as National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. This is sponsored by the American Mosquito Control Association. Every year they host this event to where all the mosquito controls across America can get the message out on what mosquito control is, how people can help themselves, defend themselves, help compete against mosquitoes. So, again, thank you.
Describe a little bit about what you do.
I'll pass it along. Here you go.
Okay, to describe a little bit about what we do, we have a technician here and we have people who are also in charge of kind of getting everybody together and organizing everyone. And I think the main thing that we do is we have technicians that go out every day looking for breeding, and they treat and they answer citizens' questions, and they go to citizens' houses and help them anytime that they call, because we are a free service and we're here, and I know that we're all proud to be helping not only create awareness, but also to be protecting public health. And I am here as the public education person, and I just want to put in a little plug, especially with all the rain that we've had, to make sure that, number one, make sure you're dumping any kind of standing water about once a week, and that can really help cut down on breeding in your own yard. Make sure you're wearing a repellent. CDC has several that they recommend, including DEET and picaridin, oil of lemon eucalyptus. And if you're going to be out when the mosquitoes are out during dawn and dusk, make sure that you're wearing loose-fitting clothing, long sleeves, long pants if you can.
The other thing that, tell about how crews go out and cut the underbrush. I thought that's kind of fascinating. I don't think most people know that.
We do have also people in our department who go out and definitely cut brush and control different vegetation that actually can help breed mosquitoes. One thing that many people may not know is some invasive plants, such as water lettuce and water hyacinth, can actually help breed mosquitoes, because some mosquitoes use it not only as cover, some also lay their eggs inside the root system, and they're able to survive better with those plants there. So working in unison with somebody who's also out there taking care of vegetation is crucial to what we do.
Sure is. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Why not?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, I'd just like to say that it's nice to be here, and it's a comfort to actually get out the sun for one time. But seriously, though, educating the public about mosquito awareness on a daily basis, it's a good thing. So what I say to everyone in here, to the people that's listening to the station here, is that understand that when we come to your house, we are there to help assist either yourself or your neighbors. A main key factor is access to your property. If it's a vacated property or what have you, and you call mosquito control, make us aware of it. As a matter of fact, when you call mosquito control and you are calling for a service request, the more information, but be brief, the more information that you give us, the better that we can serve you. Thank you.
Let's say anything, Kevin.
One of the things that I just want to say thank you for you all. I really appreciate what you do and for backing us mosquito control up. One of the things that we want to consider is, it's just not containers. It's also that we look for. We look at gutters. A lot of times the gutters are like the main source also. A lot of people forget about that, besides the containers, besides plants. One of the big problems that we have, plant is called bromeliad. They hold water and they will breed massive mosquitoes. So, a lot of people plant them, keep them in pots. After a couple of days, dump them out. That'd be a big help. But mainly, making sure you dump, treat, and spray. That's the biggest thing. Repellent, around sunset, sunrise, would help you guys out a lot. Thank you.
All right. And one parting thought, the 3 Ds of mosquito control: defend, dress, and dump.
Defend, dress, and what?
And dump.
Dump. Okay. All right. Thank you. Great. You guys put across a great message today for everything that you do every day for us. Thank you so much. So.
Just never happy with one
It's justice.
or two.
Why wouldn't you put it on that setting?
It's the art.
Okay, next we are fortunate to have a partner presentation, and we are pleased to have Carolyn King with the Pinellas Opportunity Council with us today. And I can see some of her board. Welcome, it's nice to see you.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to present Pinellas Opportunity Council to the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to first take just a moment to recognize I have board and staff present here today. If all my board members and staff would please stand and be acknowledged. Thank you. And one is a representative representing the Board of County Commissioners.
Is he representing us well?
He is doing an excellent job. Yes. He is why we're on the agenda today.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I do have handouts for each of you. Unfortunately, they're en route here. When they arrive, they'll pass them out and you will get them. But I also have a PowerPoint presentation that I will be speaking from. I thought that was the handouts. Okay, so Pinellas Opportunity Council, this presentation today, as I said, thank you for this opportunity. This presentation is going to give you a general overview with some specifics and some details of some of the programs. It was very difficult to talk about all the many programs that we do in a very, very short presentation. But Pinellas Opportunity Council was incorporated in Pinellas County in 1968 as the designated community action agency for the county. And the mission is to alleviate the conditions of poverty, promote economic self-sufficiency, and revitalize local communities. Being a community action agency, we came into existence with the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 under the Lyndon Baines Johnson's Declaration of War on Poverty. And that gave specifics in terms of our structure, governance structure, which requires tripartite governance structure. And that includes having equal representation from public, private, and low-income sectors on our board of directors. Pinellas Opportunity Council, having been in existence for 50 years, we've had some great successes. We've operated many programs, and we are an agency that has a great track record in the programs that we do. Under the Department of Economic Opportunity, through the state of Florida, our federal funds flow through the state. And they instituted organizational performance standards that all community action agencies must operate by. And there are 54 standards. And this has been in existence for the past 4 or 5 years. And we have met 100% of those operational performance standards since their existence, becoming into effect. We have sound programmatic and fiscal accountability. We are monitored annually. And for the past 30 plus years, we've had excellent audit reports with no management letter. We are also monitored by our funding sources annually, as well as internally by our board of directors annually. We are community-wide. We have service centers from South St. Pete all the way to Tarpon Springs, and there are 7. And our basic population are residents of Pinellas County who meet the 125% of the poverty income guidelines. The next slide depicts our financial funding programs, and we basically are right under $2 million, a little over $2 million. And this slide depicts where the basics of these fundings are coming from. The first column, our basic funding, is through the Community Services Block Grant, which are those funds that come from the federal level that put community action agencies into existence. We also get funding from other community services programs, the United Way, the EHEAP funding, and if you go all the way to the next to the last column, our CHORE services program, and I wanted to highlight that because we do receive county funds for the CHORE services program, $30,000 from the from the Pinellas County Community Development Block Grant, and $27,869 from the Social Action Funding. And so the county has been very supportive of the CHORE services program over the years. We certainly appreciate that and look forward to your continued support. Some of our programs provide services that address immediate financial economic needs, and then some go beyond and try to take those families with these needs and help them exit poverty. So in our economic self-sufficiency programs, the goal of these programs is to provide career training and employment opportunities so that life skills are changed and supportive services are provided for families who are trying to achieve self-sufficiency.
I think we're one slide behind you.
Okay.
We're not showing your slide.
Oh, because
There you
I can't talk and flick at the same time.
We all get that.
And there's a glare on here, so I can't read from the from this one, and I apologize for that. Thank you. Our economic sufficiency programs are actually designed to help move families out of poverty. We're in a partnership and currently are with the 2020 Task Force and the City of St. Petersburg Wraparound Program Services. And the goal of the 2020 Task Force is to reduce poverty in Southside St. Pete by 30% in the year 2020. And POC has been an integral part of helping to accomplish the programs and the goals that the 2020 program has set out. The last wraparound program that we did in conjunction with 2020 and the City of St. Pete, there were 29 clients enrolled in that program. And of that 29, 26 of the 29 successfully completed the program. And that's 89% completion rate. And on this slide, you will see in this program, we had 13 LPNs, 4 RNs, 7 that got CNA licenses, 1 that completed an AA degree, and 1 completed the high school diploma. And so out of this group, out of the 29, the 26 that completed the program, 14 of those income increased to the point that they exceeded the 125% of the federal poverty guidelines, and that's a 48% success rate. Also, one of the 2020 programs was the 2020 Healthcare Ladder, and that program included a partnership between POC, Career Edge, the 2020 Task Force, and Bon Secours Health Systems. And the goal of that was to take persons that had been in previous wraparound programs, as well as working poor heads of household, and help them to climb the ladder in the healthcare field. And that program, 34 clients were enrolled in that. 29 completed the program, which was an 85% completion rate. And those were in LPNs, CNAs, and phlebotomies as well. Also in that program, out of the ones that completed, 14, which is 48%, actually income increased to the level that they were higher than the 125% federal poverty guidelines. Okay. Another program that we do is designed for our youth, and that is the Youth Development Program. We've operated this program for 39 years, and the aim of the program is to provide students with social and emotional, employment, and life management skills. And the purpose is to help enhance their ability to be able to gain employment. So we recruit these students into the program and provide these services to them. We provide a day, 2 days of employment training, soft skills training. Then they go out on job sites. And we average about 39 job sites that these students are working on for 6 weeks. And we partner with local businesses in the community. One of those days will also be a field trip, a business field trip. And at the end of their 6-week employment, they receive a monetary stipend. We've graduated a lot of students out of this program, and they've gone on to be very successful residents in our communities. They always come and give back to the program. A few months ago, we're very fortunate to hire Mrs. Larissa Jones as the Education and Training Coordinator at POC, and she was one of our summer youth participants. The Emergency Assistance Program is a program that we provide limited financial assistance to help with utility bills, rent and mortgage, and other types of emergency assistance on a one-time basis for residents throughout the county. The funders that help fund this program, the bigger funder is the Community Services Block Grant, the Department of Economic Opportunity. We receive funds from the City of Pinellas Park, the Angel Fund, the City of St. Petersburg Social Action Funding. Also the City of St. Petersburg, by way of PERC, Pinellas Ex-Offender Reentry Program, our coalition, we receive monies, and the handout here says that it's a National League of Cities, but in fact it is the City of St. Petersburg General Revenue Funds. And we partner with PERC in providing wraparound services to those participants in the Cohort of Champions program. And we are in the second year of a 3-year cycle on that. The other emergency program that we have is EHEAP, Emergency Home Energy Assistance Program. And that is funded through the Area Agency on Aging, DOE-A, which is HHS funding. And that is emergency assistance, heating and cooling for residents that are age 60 and above. And that is a program that I think we've been doing since maybe 2013, and it was prior to that administered by the county. And we've done an excellent, excellent job in administering that program. All the monitoring and audit reports have no findings. In the Emergency Assistance Program, we served over 5,500 individuals with emergency assistance. We also have programs that involve financial empowerment and home ownership. The two programs presented here side to side. The Chase Settlement one, that program is already completed. We partnered with Neighborhood Home Solutions in working with clients in their program. 30 of them were enrolled. We provided financial literacy programs, training to them. Out of that 30, there were 5 clients that actually purchased a home. There were 8 that received credit repair and 20 that got their debt reduction. And those funds came to us through the Florida State Attorney's Office. And these were funds that were the settlement from Chase Bank rather. And they had to go back into the community and go into financial literacy type programs. We currently have received the same types of funds through the Attorney General's office. Western Union got slapped on the hand for the same type of practices. And so that program just started, and we are partnering again with Neighborhood Home Solutions for 15 clients. The funding is just slightly lower. And we will be working with them to provide financial literacy training, credit repair, and also those expenses that are associated with first-time home buying. PLC will provide the case management, and they will establish action plans for these clients, and we will make the disbursements once they get to the point that they have accomplished the goal that has been set. Another program that we do is the Security Deposit Assistance Program. These funds are received from Senior Citizen Services, and it is strictly for the elderly, ages 55 and above, and it helps them with moving expenses up to $768. With this program, we provided assistance in rent deposits to 28 seniors throughout the county, and that made affordable housing one step closer to them. Another program that we do is the CHORE Services Program, which is a very familiar program throughout the county. As I pointed out on the financial sheet, the county does provide some funds that helps us tremendously with the CHORE Services Program, and we are very appreciative of that. The CHORE Services Program provides supportive services that are designed to help frail elderly residents of the county maintain a decent, independent living environment. Most seniors, as you know, there's almost 33% of the population of Pinellas County is over the age of 60. And more than 30% of those seniors have some type of physical disability that limits their ability to perform certain daily tasks of independent living. Something as simple as dressing, eating, cooking, and housekeeping. So that's where CHORE Services comes in to assist with that housekeeping lack that is in their household. We're able to provide heavy household cleaning and lawn for those elderly persons. Additionally, in addition to the CHORE Services cleaning and lawn, we receive funds from the Senior Citizen Services and the Pinellas Community Foundation to help with falls prevention. So many seniors run into falls and accidents in their homes, and these funds are designed to provide supportive devices inside the home to help them prevent them from falling and assist them in their daily living. We also receive funds from from Senior Citizen Services, as well as the City of St. Pete in partnership to build wheelchair ramps that gives them access in and out of their homes. In 2018, we served 383 seniors with CHORE Services, and currently there are 563 on the wait list. The last but not the least program that we administer is the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. And this is a program that is funded through the Corporation for National Service, one of the senior core programs. And the intent is to keep persons ages 55 and above active in the community by way of volunteerism. And the seniors, they provide their skills, their talent, their life experiences, and most important, their precious time to help improve the lives of those in their communities. There are 4 basic focus areas that the Corporation for National Service has in relation to where the volunteers can spend their time. In years past, it's been very, very broad, and we've had a lot of volunteers, but they narrowed it down to 4 focus areas, which is education, and that consists of tutoring in and out in the school system, in the after-school programs, vet services, and food insecurity, and social isolation. So we're building that program up, recruiting volunteers around those four focus areas. Currently, we have about 30 volunteer sites that we provide volunteers at, and as of right now, there's 170 volunteers in that program. And that concludes the presentation that's before you. The handouts, I'm not sure if they are here, would include an agency annual report, an impact report that I'd like you to please pay specific attention to. This particular report just goes into a lot of detail regarding our efforts with the 2020 task force in helping to alleviate poverty in South St. Pete. And we have some great statistics in that. And I would like to just conclude by thanking you for this opportunity to present this wonderful organization, Pinellas Opportunity Council, to the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask if we could take a photo with their group as well, since Mr. Cleveland has a bow tie on. We want to capture that. And thank you, Mr. Henderson. This was a great idea, and just highlighting all the things you do. I know you didn't hit on everything you do, but just incredible. The one I wanted to ask you about was the Economic Self-Sufficiency Program,
Yes.
which is outstanding. You took 29 clients in and 26 were very successful.
Yes.
How is that program specifically funded, or is it a mix of?
The 2020 is a part of that program. The basic funding for that economic sufficiency is a community services block grant. They provide the staffing for the most part, and we're able to secure funds, say from the city of St. Petersburg and others, to help provide the direct assistance services to the clients.
And is that community service block grant, is that countywide, or is it divided like the CDBG?
That is our federal
Yes,
funding.
CDBG.
Yeah.
But CDBG, for example, St. Pete has its own allocation, and then you have the urban county.
Correct.
Is the CSBG the same way? The community service block grant, is that?
No, it's actually federal funding that is allocated specifically to community action agencies only.
So that's 100% free?
Yes,
for
it's
PLC.
100%
Okay.
for community action, and it is allocated based on supposedly the poverty population in each county throughout the nation. And there are, I want to say 32 community action agencies in the state of Florida, 1,100 nationwide.
And I think that's another one that's impacted by an accurate census count, so I'm going to keep saying that for the rest of the year. But thank you so much. Y'all do an incredible job.
And also your other representative on our board is Mr. Steve Cleveland. I forgot that. But they both do an excellent job. Thank you for appointing them.
Thank you. We really appreciate all that you all do. Ken, you want to? Oh,
No.
yeah.
Either way, Madam Chair.
Okay. Why don't we both go down?
I'm going down with the chair. I'll follow with it.
Ominous sounding.
What are we doing? I'm gonna have you guys stand here. Ken and I are gonna go down.
She's taking me to the bodyguard.
Affordable studio spaces to create sustainability for the arts community. So what I'm going to be doing here is showing you about 30 years worth of work in just a couple minutes, so it's going to be kind of like speed dating here. I will talk a little bit about each piece. There's a lot of process shots because I'm kind of a process freak. I like how things are made. That's as important to me as what it is that I'm making. This piece was done, so I got my undergraduate degree at Colorado State University and with an emphasis in sculpture in 1989. And I moved to Seattle shortly after that, and I started working for the Seattle Opera. And I learned more in 2 years working for the opera than I did in 4 years of undergraduate school about the reality of making things, how to manifest an idea into reality, how scale works and a scale ruler and drawings and working in 2 dimensions with front elevations and side elevations and plan views to be able to take an idea like you see before you. On the left is me as a youngster. This piece was actually done for the St. Louis Opera Theater for a production called Tosca. This was carved by myself in 3 weeks, and you can see it on the right-hand side there as it was used for presentation. So
How tall was it?
that piece was about 20 feet tall.
20 feet?
Yes. So this is my first private commission. It was for a bank in St. Louis. Called Southwest Bank, and the shot on the left is my studio in St. Louis. It was an old monument company, and it was amazing every day to walk into that space when I was working on that piece and have this beautiful bird with a 14-foot wingspan hanging out in the studio in various iterations between the mold and the casting and the original pattern work. It was incredibly inspiring. It was heaven, let me tell you that. This is my first public art commission. This piece was created for Austin, Texas, and it was called Ringers. And at the time, I was playing a lot of horseshoes with my friends. And this particular call came up, and this development had 2 roundabouts. And it seemed the perfect opportunity to create 2 sculptures that faced each other that depicted a game of horseshoes in action. And the shot on the left is one of those horseshoes being produced in the studio. And that's me, sweaty and dirty, and that's the way I like it. So this is a shot of the dolphins at the sundial, and this is one of the bigger commissions that I received when I first got down here. I moved down here, as Charlie said, in 2005, and I moved my studio down here because I could. I had an opportunity. I was packing up the studio, and I came down here. I toured the entire southeast seaboard, and I chose St. Petersburg in Pinellas County because I thought it was absolutely gorgeous, and it had everything that I was looking for. So I think it's important to note that I'm here by choice. The image on the left is a pattern and mold that was created for casting the dolphins in bronze. So that pink material that you see is a silicone, and wax is put into that surface, and in a thin layer, about 3/16 of an inch thick, and then that wax is invested in what is now known as a ceramic shell, and the wax is melted away, and molten bronze is poured into the void that remains. And that's what you see whenever you see a bronze, is that thin layer of bronze material that was melted down and then poured into that mold form. This is a commission that was a public art commission for Baycare headquarters, and it's called the Ripple Effect. And the 3 drops or splashes in the water represent the core values of the Baycare health system. And the shot on the left is the carving process and out how to manifest those ripple shapes in that material. This is a cast fiberglass piece. This is Ascent, which was done for Opal Sands Resort, and the image on the right shows the completed piece, which was a collaboration with Christopher Still. And the piece is intended to represent the surface of water. As you come up the escalator, the intent is that you are rising towards that surface of water, and it creates sort of a transition experience from the street level into the vacation environment that is the Opal Sands. The shot on the left is myself working with a scale model and determining the angles and pitches of all of these circles as we have them laid out, preparing to weld them together. Here's the project for the Florida Aquarium called the Ripples of Life, and it is a series of birds and fish that are aligned in the sequence of ripple-like forms. And this is a 70-foot wall that sits at the entrance of the newly renovated Florida Aquarium. Had the good fortune to do a number of pieces there. And on the left is one of those panels being processed. It's all water jet cut aluminum. There are sections that are all joined together, as you can see in the photograph, and then there are several hundred individual birds and fish, and each one of those is a naming opportunity for donors for the Florida Aquarium. These two pieces represent private commissions that are very important to me in my recent body of work, and they represent investigations into how to create three-dimensional objects out of linear space in the piece on the left, and then out of flat planes or planilinear objects from the piece on the right. The piece on the right is over in Tampa. Actually, both of these pieces are in Tampa. And the vertical lined piece is called Vertical Hum. It actually creates a visual effect as you walk past it that it creates a sense of movement, and I've often seen people when they stand and look at it rock back and forth, and it creates a sense of energy or movement in the piece. The piece on the right is called Budding Vortex, and it has to do with the reproductive components of plants and how those processes tend to follow mathematical formulas that the Greeks discovered early on, and we know them by definition as the Fibonacci sequence, and also represented in the golden means, which is a ratio of growth proportion that is 1 to 1.68, and many more points from there, but it is the ratio of the length to the width of the Parthenon. Who knew that math and science and art could all come together? This is a piece called Splash, and it is a very literal project for a recreational center in Norman, Oklahoma. They have a golf course and a tennis club, as well as a new aquatic center. And this piece is all water jet cut aluminum, and it is vertical planilinear forms that make up that shape. So here we have the piece, one of the pieces for the new police headquarters in St. Petersburg. The shot on the right is in my studio with St. Petersburg City Council member Gina Driscoll, and that wing is approximately 30 feet long, and the piece is called Shielded, and it was intended to create the sense of being protected by that wing as you enter into the police headquarters. It was noted to me that many of the people that enter police headquarters are often victims of crime, and they feel very vulnerable. So the intent was, through the artwork, to create a sense of protection. In my studio, I have a approximately 20-foot ceiling, and you can see that the piece is very low to the floor. It creates great dramatic effect, but as it's presented in the facility with a 30 to 35-foot ceiling, you can see that there's a significant access under the piece. This is the piece for the exterior of the facility, and there's a detail on the right, and this is a gladiolus blossom defined once again through planilinear form, and I chose a gladiolus because it shares its name with the gladiator, which is Latin for warrior. And I found that the definition historically for gladiolus shares a lot of common threads with the core values of the police department, such as honor, integrity, and loyalty. And the idea behind this blossom, at the very center of this particular flower, is a mirror-polished gold-plated sphere, and you see yourself reflected in that sphere. So it represents the community, and the petals represent the police department. In an idealized sense, a flower has at its essence the pistil and stamen, which is what carries that flower forward through life. And in this sense, that blossom protects, nurtures, and ultimately reveals the community to the greater world. So that is the concept behind the piece, and it is stainless steel, cut out of 3/8-inch stainless steel plate. And this is a piece that is not public art or commissioned. It's a piece that's just made for fun. It was displayed at the recent Creative Pinellas art show, and I was very fortunate to receive a grant from Creative Pinellas. And this is over 10,000 colored pencils that are aligned in a form, a mold technically of a pair of lips that just happen to be a version of my wife's lips. And this piece is all about pixelation, and you'll notice in the detail shot there you can see individual pencils from the side, and each one of those pencil points represents what would be a pixel of that image that we see of those lips. So in a nutshell, that's my current body of work, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you so much. We are so proud that you call St. Petersburg and Pinellas your home and that you work, live, and play here. So great presentation, and I've seen almost all of the works that you showed today, and
Well, thank you.
it's fascinating to see side by side how you create them and the finished product. So
I appreciate
Commissioner
that.
Justice?
Well, you can see why I'm a fan and why I was so happy that you were able to come and share the story with us today. And if you have a chance, if you're at Weeden Island, the large mural that's at Weeden Island, A Glimpse Through the Mangroves, is done by Carrie, who's his wife, and also so a lot of talent in the family.
Thank you. I should mention that there's an opportunity to see the studio as well as the entire Warehouse Arts District, and a great opportunity to experience the art scene in St. Pete. Every second Saturday of the month, we have an art walk from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for your leadership in the Warehouse District as well. Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Justice.
My pleasure.
Another great local story. All right, we have the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to have anything pulled?
I'd move approval.
Second.
I'm going to pull 14.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Welch and second by Commissioner Long, except for agenda item 14.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not showing up.
I guess we'll just go ahead and take a verbal vote, because I'm.
No.
Oh,
There
we
we
go.
go.
Well,
It's up
mine's
there.
still
It's
not
up
coming
there, but it's not on our screen.
Nope. Yeah, it's not showing up. Okay, well, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. I just wanted to highlight Agenda 14 because it is the old Seminole Water Tower site. And I guess I'm just slightly disappointed with the bids that we got, considering considering everything. And so I'm trying to remember, and maybe somebody does, is how much it cost us to demolish the water tower.
Andrew is here, can answer any of your questions. Or Megan.
Hi, Megan Ross, Facilities Director, Pinellas County. I don't have that exact information with me today, but I can certainly get that for you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Remember, Ann? Does anybody remember?
Oh, here comes Joe.
I don't remember, so.
Hi, Commissioner Joe Laura from the Purchasing Department. I believe it was $156,000.
150? Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
All right. I'm just glad we're netting out something after all the anguish that we went through that. So. Okay, thank you.
Can I ask?
Do you have a question?
I was just curious about if anybody knows what they're doing with it.
Good afternoon, Andrew Pupke, Real Estate Management Director. No, they have not indicated what they're doing with it. The prospective buyer is a home builder, it's Chouinard Builders, but we have not been given that information.
And I looked up the zoning and it's R3, so. Okay. Okay, is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Gerard and second by Commissioner Eggers.
Is
the city know?
Do you think you'll be able to get the voting cards, or should we just take a verbal vote?
See it now?
Nope. No. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to 18. Item 18.
Item 18 is a grant award for a substance abuse and mental health services administration and funding agreement with West Care, Gulf Coast, Florida, Inc. for the Pinellas County Adult Drug Court Expansion Project in the amount of $400,000 per year for 5 years.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Welch and second by Commissioner Justice.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can we have staff just to talk a little bit about this? I think it's important, given our workshop last week.
Sure, Daisy's in the audience. She
I would agree, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Daisy Rodriguez,
Daisy.
Director of Human Services.
This is great news. Let's tell the public about the $2 million.
Okay, great. So it's a SAMHSA grant that we put in for, and it's to look for expanding the adult drug treatment court. Lourdes and I was there about 2 weeks ago and got to see it in action, and it was absolutely incredible. It's an opportunity for nonviolent offenders who have substance use or mental health to come and volunteer to be placed in a program. And they do routine touches back with the judge to see how they're progressing. And when we were there were 2 individuals who had graduated from the program, so it's a huge success.
Do we have an idea of how many folks this is going to help?
I don't have the exact number of the total amount of individuals, but this additional $2 million will allow us to provide services to 295 additional unduplicated individuals.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Congratulations, another great grant that you all have obtained.
Thank you.
And for such a good project. Well needed.
Madam
Anybody else?
Chair.
Commissioner Lund.
You know, I don't think we've ever had this kind of a presentation here, but it does occur to me that it would be kind of a neat opportunity to have Judge Farnell come and talk to us about her program. If you've ever sat through one of her drug courts, the impact on those young people is extraordinary. And since we have such a focus on trying to work on suicide prevention and all of that sort of thing with our young, I just think it would be an eye-opening. She's got such a lovely way of talking about it.
I know.
She, if I may, she's amazing.
She's
And
amazing.
She comes out from behind the bench, and she knows each of the individuals by name. She knows their stories. She knows their addiction journey. She really is incredible.
And the way she talks to them
I know.
is just it's very heartwarming, and I think we could all benefit from just listening to her, just my personal opinion.
Okay. We'll bring her up as a partner presentation.
Great, we'll work on arranging that. Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Okay, so, we had a motion and a second.
I think we voted.
No, we haven't voted.
We didn't?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Agenda item 19.
Agenda item 19 is an amendment number 4 to the Hurricane Irma grant funding agreement, and this is to obligate $244,000 for countywide emergency activities. This is specifically out at the airport for permanent work to the airport water control facilities and various county buildings.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Welch, second by Commissioner Gerard, and good news that we've been getting some of our reimbursements.
How are we doing on that overall? How much do we still have outstanding?
We can provide an update on that. I want to do it off the top of my head. It's been slow. There was a whole presentation on it at FAC. Oh, Bill
Says
has
the
it.
county's received $2.4 million through May 8th and has pending reimbursements totaling about $63,000.
That's
I thought
it?
we had, is that it? Did I just answer the question?
Yes, Commissioner, you did. Part of your backup that's attached to the agenda item is a spreadsheet that looks like this.
Okay.
And this has all the detail about what we have as projects that we're waiting for, to be obligated, which means that it would come forward for approval as part of a grant agreement. Part of it would be things that we have reimbursed already. Part of it is checks that we're waiting to receive. And that's the sum that we're at right now. So $22.1 million in total. That includes the portion that we would be responsible for. 2.4 million received to date, 240,000 that is pending reimbursement through a check. So that's approved and just waiting for us to actually get the money in hand. We've got the bulk of what's still left that hasn't been obligated yet is the debris removal, which is over $10 million. And as you might expect, there's quite a bit of detail that there is to go through there. So that, I suspect, is what's really holding that up most of anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the voting ballot showed up on my computer. How about everybody else?
Sue?
No,
Okay, let's go ahead and,
I don't have it. I'm a yes.
it showed up.
You entered, right? You entered the system.
I'm in the system.
All right.
I'll get out.
It disappeared. Okay, let's go ahead and take a verbal vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Agenda item 20.
Agenda item 20 is a change order with the Lane Construction Corporation for the 2018 through 20 countywide pavement preservation project. This is to add 5 additional resurfacing projects in the amount of $1.179 million.
Move approval.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Eggers, second by Commissioner Gerard. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Agenda item 21.
Agenda item 21 is brought back after our last discussion. This was with the CVB lease. And so we've modified that per the direction of the commission to a 3-year with 2 one-year renewals.
Okay, and there was no change in the price?
No change in the price.
Okay, very good.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Welch and second by Commissioner Gerard. All those in favor, whoops.
Sorry, to interrupt, but on your next vote, if you'll check your iPads, we want to see if they're working.
Okay.
What does that mean, check your iPad?
See if they show up on your iPad to vote.
Oh, yeah, well, they have.
Here we go.
Yes.
All right, let's see if it's showing up on mine.
Yep.
Oh, I think it's working.
You voted.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I like the location.
Whoops. 5-1 vote, it passes. Okay, County Administrator miscellaneous.
I do not have a report.
Attorney miscellaneous. Okay. Moving on to Career Source Pinellas, agenda item 24.
Agenda item 24 is reappointments to the Ned Pinellas Career Source Board of Directors. These are reappointments.
Anybody have any questions?
Just in terms of capacity, you're at 32 members with these reappointments.
Mike is in the audience. But that is correct.
Mike Meidel, Economic Development Director. We are actually at 30 with these reappointments. And then we've got another appointment. The next item on the agenda is to bring in another board member as well, which is a business class employee that would bring it to a majority board members for that, the 31 on board. What will happen in July is we plan to bring the bylaws to you that we've talked about, modifying the bylaws. Previously, there was a cap set at 31 employees, 31 board members. However, if we add the school board member, that puts us over the top, which also puts us out of balance with the number of business category members. So there will be a small change to the bylaws recommended by the C-SPIN board to bring it up to 33 and enable the complete balance of all state and federal and bylaws requirements. But that'll happen in July. Right now, approving these will bring us up to 30, and then adding the one will bring us to 31. However, which is, where we got the bylaws in the first place. But in order to add the school board member, we're out of line again.
So the 45 member.
The
cap is
45 is
noted.
what the governor
Okay.
allows.
So
So-
federal-
And that's the current bylaws say 45.
We're bringing it down to 30.
We're bringing it down.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the concerns was we felt like there were too many people on the board in order to have everyone be able to participate in a board meeting. So the idea was to bring down the count a little bit and get better participation.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to check with you about the process for the school board member. Whitney asked me to check.
Yes.
Since we're going to have the bylaws on the agenda anyway, and probably a nomination for the other new business person.
Yeah, I would like to do all three at one time,
Okay.
since we're creating the new bylaws, and then instantly we'd be out of compliance if we
Right.
didn't at the same meeting try to appoint the
Okay.
board member.
So I was
And-
thinking it would be okay to put it on consent agenda, but since we're going to be talking about
Right.
it anyway.
Yeah, we
the
really do need to do all
School
three
board
next
will
time.
pick their own member.
Okay.
Also, I just wanted to say before we vote, this board has been great. People are showing up to board meetings, 75, 80%?
Yes.
And then very few people on the phone. They've been all engaged. It's really quite the turnaround for the
It
last
is.
year and a half.
It's significant. So now, just to clarify, the school board will appoint their own member. Are they aware of that now? Do we need to notify them?
I believe Jennifer is going to notify them.
Okay, perfect. All right, that'll be great, and we will try to bring that member and one more business member to you along with the bylaws, and then we're totally legal for at least another year if
Yay.
no one resigns.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Long.
do we have any updates from the feds or from the state?
I can tell you some, or Jennifer's here. She can give you an update. Do you want to know?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi there. Jennifer Brackney with Career Source Pinellas. And actually, it's part of my presentation today. So if you wanted me to give you the update first, I can start with that, or we can start with the planning budget. I had a couple of other quick slides to go through and then give an update on.
Yeah, why don't
We might as well wait.
Okay.
Why don't we go ahead and take care of 24 and 25 and then have you come back up
That
for
sounds
26?
perfect. All
Since
right.
you are already planning to do a
Yep,
presentation.
yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, so did I have a motion and a second?
Move approval?
On this
Second.
one? Who moved?
I did.
Commissioner Gerard, and second by Commissioner Welch. Okay.
There we go.
Passes unanimously. Agenda item 25.
Agenda item 25 is an appointment to the Pinellas Career Source Pinellas Board of Directors, and this is the appointment for a 2-year term.
I missed that.
Any questions?
Move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Gerard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Eggers.
And then they add about 11.7 million just in the WIOA programs. DOA issues these funds to grants for 1 year up to duration of 2 years. Thus, the budget is a factor of, there's 4 things: funding from DEO the current year. For the 2-year grants that were issued last year, we have spending plus any carry forward to this current year. For the 2-year grants, any funds that we intend to carry forward to next fiscal year, 2020, 2021, and any new grants that we anticipate to be issued or were issued in this this past fiscal year. The planning budget was reviewed by our finance committee and our board and approved, and that's what we are presenting today. Due to the impending sale of the Science Center that Jennifer will talk about in a little bit, we are not budgeting for any STEM-E programs this coming year. However, we do have a Career Center at the Science Center that we are anticipating that we will be in operations through the end of December. So total DEO funded grants is going to be 93% or $9.7 million of our total budget for the year. So now I want to just talk specifics about the revenue side. Last year, our planning budget, if you recall, was a little over $11.5 million. This year, our proposed budget is $10.4 million, a decrease of 1.1 or 9.8%. And as I previously mentioned, DEO funding is 7.5% down from last year. However, that doesn't reflect in our budget that our WEO funding is down 7.5%. Our WEO adult revenue is up $80,000, and that's mainly as a result of the reserves moving forward. Dislocated worker is down 473 as a result of the spending and the less reserves moving forward, and WEOA youth is showing a slight increase. Some of the other significant factors impacting the revenue side of the budget, SNAP is a little bit higher than last year. We were issued 2 grants, $200,000 grants in the beginning of this year. That's going to impact our budget $160,000 for 2019 and 20. That's the apprenticeship and the soft skills grants. We had some Hurricane Maria outreach and training that we did not spend any funds on last year, so that will appear as a negative impact to our budget from last year. And the community-based sector strategy grants are all ending on June 30th. These contribute about $300,000 to the budget last year. That's really what I wanted to talk about, but in our quarterly updates to the county commissioners, we will give an update on the budget, and any changes to the budget, we will give an update at that point in time. Does anybody have any questions on the revenue side?
So when did you say we get the next update? I was lost in your
My
spreadsheet.
understanding is quarterly we will be.
Quarterly? Okay.
So for example, on our estimates of our reserves moving forward, we'll give you actual reserves that we did move forward to this year and any changes that we see as we move forward to the budget.
Well, thank you for the spreadsheet. There's a lot of details in there. We appreciate that.
Now, I just want to take a minute or two on the expense side, if nobody has any other questions on the revenue. Our expenses are $10.4 million, and about 48% represents personnel costs, a little over $5 million. The other biggest expense items are training, which represents about 20% or $2 million. Service provider, $575,000, and that's $500,000 of that is our Youth Connect contract with Pinellas Education Foundation, and $75,000 with Junior Achievement for the Summer STEM program. We're budgeting $732,000 for budgeted for subsidized worker training this coming year. Customer support services of about $370,000. And $150,000 for training-related material. So if you take into account all those expenses that I just mentioned, that's about $8.8 million, a little less than 8.9, or 85% of the entire agency budget. There's only 2 other expense items that are $100,000 or more. That's IT services of $273,000 and office rent of $264,000. So all the expense items that are $100,000 and more make up 90.3% of our budget. And with that, if you have any questions about expenses.
Any questions? I just wanted to make a comment. Since we started getting this kind of detail on the budgets, I realize that this is the most complicated budget I've ever seen in a nonprofit, because they have all these. Oh, good. They have all these grants that are that are different fiscal
Multi-year.
years than theirs, or they're 2 years, and they carryovers, and oh my God.
Yes.
It's really
a complex program.
Congratulations.
And we're very happy to have Steve. He started in October of last year and really has put the budget and the revenue and really pushing transparency and ensuring that we move forward on the right track. So it's been a pleasure to work with him, and we're glad he's on board with us at CareerSource Pinellas.
Great. And all the programs that you all do here are all embedded in those salaries in the, what is it, $5 million?
Yes.
That's the implementation side of all
That's right.
the actual work that we do.
And that's the career counselors, business services, everything.
Right,
The
yeah.
Career Resource Center.
Thank you.
Instructors for some of our training programs.
Right.
Commissioner Welch and then Commissioner Long.
So again, thank you for all the comments. They explain a lot. On the DEO funding under WIA, you note it's down 12.4%. What drives that decrease?
That WIOA funding is formula funded, and it's typically represented by the unemployment rate, the things that are going on in the economy. It typically has a 2-year, year-and-a-half lag. So it's based on if the unemployment rate is low, the funding starts to go down over time. So we can expect that, and DEO has told us over the next couple of years we could expect a decrease. They are helping to supplement that over the next couple of years. 2021, 2022 is probably when those deficits will really start to hit.
So the better the economy is, the less funding you get.
Right.
Too.
And then if there's a change in the economy, it then lags behind 18 months or so before there's an increase in formula funding.
Okay.
So it's cyclical and it's based on the economy.
Commissioner Long. Well, I'm almost afraid to ask this question. But I didn't hear you say anything about the Science Center.
Oh, it's coming. I have a few more slides. We just wanted to make sure we had the planning.
I just wanted to make sure there was a little bit of information
Yes,
in there,
ma'am,
because
there
I'm
is.
very curious.
It's coming up here. We'll go ahead. If there's anything else with the budget, I'll cover a couple of other things and not take up too much of your time. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Very quickly, I'll just talk about our performance measures. You'll see on here the 2018-2019 primary indicators. These are the federal indicators that we have that operate our programs. They cover dislocated worker, adult, youth, and Wagner-Pizer. Right now, you'll look to see that we're exceeding our performance measures. We have one more quarter that needs to come into play here. We anticipate at the end of this program year, we'll meet or exceed our performance measures. That's critical as we move forward with an organization. 2 years out of compliance with performance measures is a big deal. So we
Who measures that?
Department of Labor and DEO. These are federal guidelines.
So they do the audit and
Yes.
check it?
It's based on actual enrollments into any of these programs.
On real data.
Yes.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Staffing plan, I just quickly want to touch base on this. We do have a leadership team put in place right now, so happy to have the CFO that you've met today. We have a couple of directors in place focused on businesses and career services. We've held an employee engagement survey. We wanted to hear the collective voice of our workforce. Out of that process, we identified 3 areas that we would focus on over the next year, 6 months to a year. Those are staff salaries and staff titles, just to make sure those are competitive and consistent with the local economy. We're going to talk about our health and benefits and have a review of that this summer. And then we're also focused on communication to the public and communication internally. Internally, we've held 2 town hall meetings, and I think those were very well received by our staff. And we've also put in place an HR Happenings, which is an internal newsletter, which is released every 2 weeks, where we just really consolidate all of the information so that our employees know what's going on and that we move forward as a team. We also have the Pinellas Pinnacle, which is our opportunity to highlight some of the exciting things that we're working on with our employers and our job seekers. And then that basically feeds into the chairman's report that's presented at each of our board meetings. We have job descriptions that we'll be reviewing over the next few years, and the desk guides, and making sure that we train our staff and make sure everyone's on the same page. So staffing plan, I'm excited with how we're moving forward with that. Science Center, we have accepted an offer with the City of St. Petersburg. It's a $3.1 million offer. We're finalizing a little bit of the MOU we had with the Astronomy Club, and then hopefully we can move that offer forward and the city can have that approved, and we can actually, hopefully 90 to 100 days, finalize the sale of the Science Center. We are not offering any summer programs. We did have the media reach out to us yesterday and ask if we were offering any of the summer programs, and based on the board decision and vote, we decided not to offer those for the summer. So those ended in May. So.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So do those folks that were counting on those summer programs, do they have alternatives?
They
Have
do.
they been communicated with?
They were, yes, absolutely. They were communicated with back in December, and we're working with Pinellas Education School System to make sure that anyone who was participating in our programs knew those were available.
Thank you.
Yep.
Question?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that the funds that we received, that 3.1, I assume after realtor costs and the other thing, will those funds sit in a reserve for other potential costs down the road?
Yes, they will sit in unrestricted funds until we determine how those will be used as an organization. So, and we anticipate about 2.4 million to be available once everything is finalized with the sale of the Science Center.
Excellent.
Yes.
And we still have some iguanas available if you'd like to take one home with you.
Iguanas, a tarantula, and a frog. We found a home for Elliot the snake.
Well, we do have a former board member that has them as pets. Maybe she would be willing to take them.
That would be very nice.
Well, never mind.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, give me a call.
No idea who you're talking about.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'll think of her name.
Okay.
All right, well, we're open and we're looking for good homes. We found homes for the marine life and some of the other things, so focusing on the live creatures first. Yes.
How is the independence of the Hillsborough organization going?
Great.
At all levels?
As far as I know, we're sister organizations. We work well together. I've reached out to the CEO on that side, and as we need to, we are working together to make sure that both of the organizations move forward on a positive note.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
And continuing to try to have a regional approach to things as we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, next, I just very quickly, as you may know, on May 15th, the U.S. Department of Labor released the compliance review. It was a 54-page document that outlines 17 different findings, 3 areas of concerns, and a potential $17.4 million in question costs between the 2 areas, Tampa and Pinellas. As I see it, those findings and areas of concern can really be lumped into 4 basic categories, and I've identified those here. The first one, the falsifying of placements, it's in a finding on its own. There's nothing you can say except it's there. We also have the question costs, which really goes into 2 categories there. One relates to staff business service incentives, and the other just administrative costs related to the previous administration, and just ensuring that we can document approval of the salaries along the way. So those relate to salaries.
Mr. Long? Yeah, so on those issues,
yes,
who's responsible for that now?
Well, we also have the OJT that fall into the question costs that have a question cost associated, OJT and supportive services. As we move forward, we basically have to approach this kind of like an IRS review. So we have to identify ways that we might be able to alleviate some of the question costs. We've proposed to DEO that we conduct a 100% review of the OJTs, the on-the-job training contracts, to ensure that they have program compliance and support services and service compliance. So our goal in this whole process, right now we anticipate the Pinellas side of the question cost is about $6.4 million. Our goal through any of review or compliance activities is to reduce that down the best we can. Once that's reduced down, any cost that we can negotiate with DEO and DOL, we can do that. Ultimately, I believe the liability falls with the county.
Even though we were acting under the advice of our attorney at the time?
Attorney.
What?
Which attorney?
Our county attorney.
Well, the responsibility first goes to the career source.
Right, to the question cost according to the WIOA legislation. So that's, the county is the ultimate authority when it comes to the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act, the legislation itself. Hopefully, through this process, we can reduce the liability as far as question cost and move those off the table. Anything that becomes a disallowed cost, we would first work with Career Source Pinellas. I'm sure the unrestricted dollars that are set aside through the sale of the Science Center would be something that we could look at. Anything beyond there, according to the legislation, it actually does come back to the county, Pinellas County. And that's just a legislative act. That's part of the legislation.
And you all have an interlocal agreement with
Yes.
Career Source that does provide that Career Source Pinellas is looked to first. And they
Yes.
are required to have certain insurance policies in place to guard against this and to seek repayment through their unrestricted funds first.
And did they have-
pursuant to your interlocal.
And
Ms.
we-
Brackney is correct, though, that the federal law places the burden on the county first as the chief elected official, but we have an interlocal agreement with Career Source that does provide an alternate path.
So did they have the appropriate insurance?
We do have insurance, and we've reached out to the insurance to let them know that this is part of something that they need to take a
Don't
look
let
at.
those policies lapse.
No, not at all. They do have a compliance officer assigned to this case, so we will see. They may actually be able to help us with hiring a consultant to review the OJTs. In my opinion, it's the best way to move forward because you do 100%. There's 2,000 OJTs on the job training contracts that need to be reviewed. Through that process, we hopefully can identify that these were program eligible, because in order to be placed in an on-the-job training contract, the individual had to come in, show their income, document with a driver's license, a social security number, all of those things. So hopefully we can prove that those are all within compliance and that the service contracts were also in compliance, which will help us alleviate some of the disallowed cost. That's the best way we can move forward at this point. Honestly, this whole process will probably take 15 to 18 months before it's finalized. So it's a marathon, not a sprint at this point in time. We just have to take it one step at a time, keep you updated on where we are with things, keep the board updated on where we are, and move forward. But anything related to a disallowed cost falls under Category 2. The other category, internal controls, really just looks at how we approach our grievance and EEO process. We've addressed all of those things at this point, so those have no disallowed cost associated with them. And then Category 4 is oversight and administration. And as you've mentioned earlier, our interlocal agreement, the bylaws update, the one-stop operator that we've put in place help address all of those issues that fall in Category 4. So right now, we're focused on Category 2, and Category 1 is really, it's in the past because we stopped the practice of working with those lists.
So, Madam Chair, I do hope that we will continue to be updated frequently, because I think the thing that just makes me crazy is getting those surprises that you don't know about, so you can't do anything because you have no knowledge of what's going on.
Right. Yep, I don't like surprises. So absolutely is, and with the Commissioner Gerard on our board, and absolutely keeping the board updated, and any updates that we need to provide to you here, we will do that.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I was cold, so I went
no,
to get my blanket. And somebody may have asked this, what kind of mortgage did you have on the Science Center? In other words, how much do you think you'll net out?
Probably about 2.4 million.
2.4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And can that be applied to this?
Yes, it will sit in unrestricted funds, so it certainly can be tapped into as we move forward if we have any disallowed costs that come out of this.
And it's on Pinellas' side of the equation?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Welch? Yeah, we don't have to share it.
Thank you for the job you're doing there, and Commissioner Gerard, thank you again for your leadership on that board. On the disallowed costs, the 6.4 million, you said Career Source will be negotiating with Department of Labor.
Yes.
Who's leading your negotiations? Who's your negotiation team?
It will happen as we move forward. It will be identified as this process moves forward. The first thing that we have to do, and which we're in the process of doing right now, is working with the Department of Economic Opportunity, DEO, to send in the first response to DOL. That first response is due on June 28th, and DEO takes the lead on that. And so we've been working with them. They have what they call a tracker that outlines all of these 17 findings in 3 areas of concern, and then we mark down what we've been doing in order to alleviate that particular finding or area of concern.
Okay.
And I'd be glad to send those to you if you'd like to see them.
We'll
They're
have
very
one more
detailed.
update. Yes.
You're relying on your legal or an attorney, or do you have outside counsel?
We're basically at this point working with DEO to address any of these issues with our findings.
But for legal advice at this point, are you relying on your
Certainly
internal?
Internal, or we've reached out to Jewel on a couple of ideas,
Okay.
Ms. White.
All right. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. And just very quickly, I'll wrap up. I just wanted to let you know that we do have the USDOL and DEO here on their annual monitoring visits. They have been conducting for the last 2 weeks a programmatic monitoring, which we'll be wrapping up, and we'll have that review here to look at. Simultaneously, there was a finance monitoring, and then USDOL is here reviewing our youth build contract, and they're here this week.
Are you making friends?
I think so. I think we're, and we have another youth build grant, so we're excited. Typically, a youth build was offered. It's a construction program for young people 16 to 24. It's a great opportunity. Typically, that was held at the Science Center. We're actually working with Pinellas Education to hold that at the Clearview site. So we're very happy for that partnership. And then last but not least, I'll just quickly, next steps, we're looking at a Workforce and Education Summit coming up in February. And we hope to have Pinellas Technical College and St. Petersburg College as partners, and many more organizations help offer that. We're offering monthly career fairs at the Epicenter. There was one held on March 28th. We had 300 candidates come through, 52 employers.
Wow.
We had a healthcare career fair. We have a technology career fair coming up on June 27th. We want this to be our center of activity at the Epicenter. So every month, employers know that they can count on us, and job seekers know that they can count on us to have that connection. We have a professional networking group that's open to anyone who would like to participate. It's really an opportunity to, if you're looking for employment or looking to upgrade, come in. We have employer presentations. We have a career networking. We have satellites that we're looking at, and we want to make sure that we're reaching the whole county from Oldsmar to South County. So we'll be looking at those. Partnerships, we'll be updating the MOUs and IFAs to make sure that they have all of the updated language that we need. And then our organization structure, we continue to focus on that. Last but not least, as we move forward, the word resilience comes to my mind. And it's the ability to bounce back, grow, and thrive in times of adversity and challenge. And so I look forward to having some really positive things to bring to this group as we move forward. We have a few bumps to get through. We have a little bit of a marathon to continue to focus on, but I'm really excited about the organization and the team that we have to work with, and the board, and partnering with the county commission. So thank you.
I just wanted to just say thank you. You all send a representative to the Community Veterans Engagement Board down at the VA, and really good interaction, and the board's really glad to have your presence there, and speaks very highly of your group. So just
That's part of being out in the community. Yes.
We thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Very, very much. So, good job.
Good.
Any further questions? Okay, well, we don't have a motion yet for agenda item 26, which would be for the budget.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Gerard and second by Commissioner Welch. Okay, unanimous approval. Moving on to agenda item 27.
Item number 27 is a resolution for issuance of Pinellas County Industrial Revenue or Development Authority. These will be industrial revenue bonds in the amount of $100 million. It's a not to exceed for the Foundation for Global Understanding. As a reminder, these have no fiscal impact on the county, and no other county funds are pledged or supported to support these bonds.
Move approval.
Second.
Question?
Okay, motion by Commissioner Welch, second by Commissioner Gerard. Commissioner Justice has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this a refinance? Because we did this, I thought.
Correct.
We already did this in the building is taking shape. You can see it from the bridge and everything. So I was just trying to understand the process a little bit better.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Don Kroll from the County Attorney's Office. I also have with us Kareem Spratling with Bryant Miller and Olive, who's the county's bond counsel on this. This is a new project, but there has been no bonded money to this so far, but I'll let Kareem kind of fill you in on the details.
That's right, Commissioner, and this project is unique in that I passed by today and it's nearly finished. And what's happened is Dr. Patel has financed a great deal of it out of his own money, and then he has a bridge loan that he's been using to finance it. So when these bonds get issued, they would refinance that bridge loan and recoup some of that cash that was put out to finance the project.
Okay, that's what I want, because there was an announcement in the paper the other day about a second project he's got in connection with this, so I was make sure that they were two separate items, so.
They're definitely moving on. Most times we get the bond proceeds and then the project's built.
Right.
This time it's going to be nearly done and we'll issue the bonds thereafter.
That's why I wanted the clarity. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, wait a second. Don't go away, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Long.
All right, so this is a little out of the ordinary for me to be asking, but this is the first time I've had an opportunity to chat with anybody that was involved in the new university. And I'm curious about whether or not you might be open, because last week we had a big workshop on mental health. And because some of the hospitals in our community have been very proactive and good partners with us in helping us to identify what could possibly be some programs and/or beds for our folks that are suffering from mental illness, is there a possibility that there could be some partnership between what you're doing and the county to work on those issues as well?
So Commissioner Long, the one thing I would mention to you, I'm your lawyers, and so I don't represent the borrower here, Dr. Patel and the foundation. But Kevin Dempsey is here from Citibank, and he's the underwriter on the transaction. Unfortunately, Dr. Patel himself couldn't make it today. But I know for a fact that it's not open yet because they don't have a certificate of occupancy yet. But I can certainly take your question back to Dr. Patel and the working group and ask them that question as well.
I would be very interested in exploring that a little bit, and I think there might be some other folks here that might be interested in having that conversation as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's a beautiful building going up.
Do we know when the anticipated opening date is? Are we far enough along to be able to share?
They expect to have the certificate by the end of this month and
Oh.
have
This
Nova
month?
start moving in
Goodness.
starting next month.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Sorry. Got
Okay,
distracted.
unanimous approval. Moving on to agenda item 28.
Item number 28 is renewal of certificates of public convenience and necessity for non-medical wheelchair transport and stretcher van providers. We have 14 firms that completed the application renewal. 8 of the firms will render both wheelchair and stretcher van services.
Any questions? You have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is it Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Gerard or Commissioner Long?
We both
Right.
did, it's okay.
I know, it was like, okay.
Pick one.
We'll make it Commissioner Long. Okay. Passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 29, which is an appointment to the EMS Advisory Council.
Move approval.
And it's
Second.
Suggestion of Mayor Joseph Manzo. Motion by Commissioner Eggers and second by Commissioner Long. Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item 30.
Agenda item 30 is this month's county administrator report, and that's on doing things TV hurricane preparedness. So obviously with the season, this month's doing thing highlights Pinellas County's preparation during the 2019 hurricane season. From conducting training sessions to public outreach and making infrastructure storm ready, our employees prepare year-round to minimize the impact of hurricanes and ensure a quick recovery. So if you would, please play the video.
5 ways Pinellas County gets ready for hurricane season. Hurricane season runs June through November. What does the county do to prepare? Well, hundreds of things. Here are 5 you may not know. Number 1, training and practicing. Like anything in life, you're better if you practice. County staff have attended more than 230 hours of training and practice sessions this year alone to be ready to manage a disaster. Number 2, clearing storm drains. If drainage ditches and storm drains are partially blocked, heavy rainfall can't drain quickly. We check more than 300 hotspots before hurricane season to keep the water moving and prevent flooding during storms. Number 3, testing generators. If the power goes out, the sewer system depends on generators to move wastewater through the system. We test all of our generators to make sure they'll work if we need them after a storm. Number 4, preparing for pets. We all love our pets, so we have to plan for them too. Since Hurricane Irma, we've moved our pet-friendly shelters to larger locations. We're also reminding pet owners of the importance of licensing and microchipping their pets to help reunite them if they get separated. Number 5, getting the word out. And most important, we're helping everyone get ready. More than 300 people attended the hurricane preparedness event at the Lellman Exchange. And through our media partners, we reached more than 1 million people with information about how to get ready for a hurricane. The county's 2019 Hurricane Preparedness Guide is available in local libraries and county buildings. And we're making an extra effort to remind all mobile home residents that they must evacuate if there's a hurricane. Mobile homes can be completely destroyed by hurricane-force winds. Government can't do it alone. Surviving the storm is everyone's responsibility. Know your evacuation zone. Make your hurricane preparedness kit. And make a plan for yourself and your family. Visit pinellascounty.org/emergency to learn more. In Pinellas County, we're doing things to be ready this hurricane season.
And that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you. That was well done. Next is public comment. We'll start with Lorraine Faulkner, and then next is David Geddes Jr. Someone set the timer. Okay. Great. Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Seal and all your distinguished commission. Thank you for your service. I am Lenore Faulkner from Madeira Beach, Florida's professional educator since 1967. Today we're celebrating Father's Day and the 150th anniversary of the periodic table. So I give a present to you. I'm certified in biology, chemistry, mathematics, science, health education, middle schools, and the gifted. I was made in America in the spring of '45. The aviators arrived at the United States Naval Academy for graduate school in aeronautical engineering. Dad was a Hellcat fighter pilot, and he got his transport from Guam. That tore him up because before that everything was a digit, but he had bombed Guam, so it was very heartbreaking. We three celebrated VE Day, VJ Day, and the 100th anniversary of the Naval Academy. On December 1st, 1945, we traveled to Philadelphia for the 1945 Army-Navy game. It was the game of the century. 102,000 attended. Army won. Dad finished his coursework and decided to complete his chemical engineering degree. Afterwards, Mom spent time in an iron lung with polio. We moved from Cincinnati to Pensacola in 1954. Dad worked for Chemstrand and Monsanto, which was the AstroTurf business during this time. My mother was extremely sick for 6 years. Our life was scrambled eggs, but Dad made it sunny side up. Our house was filled with truth and love and service to God and country. After the University of Florida, my brother worked for the Auditor General of the state of Florida, earning his CPA. God called him to his service. He has been a Catholic priest for 36 years. I arrived at the University of Florida as a junior, told that I needed to either take Russian or German, and placed in pre-med with 150 men and 3 women. I failed German and became a teacher. I was an 8th grade chemistry teacher in 1995 at Pinellas Park Middle. My partner, the physics teacher, became one of the 10 top teachers in Pinellas County out of 6,000 that year. I'm addicted to the periodic table. When I had to retire because of extreme illness, I ordered 500 periodic tables. I just love them. So enjoy yours. Take care. I taught it using art, and my students' chemistry magazines were on the internet in 1998. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Okay, David Geddes Jr.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. Pinellas County has been sold to the Water District in what is commonly known as a fee simple title, which is a 30-year foreclosure of the county. Over the next few years, the functions of the county ad valorem, such as the school system, law enforcement, and fire department, will one by one be placed under the district control, and the county will be simply dissolved as the Water District, as unelected officials assume powers of the government, the county being sold in both resolution and ordinance, again seen as a fee simple title as a 30-year foreclosure in statute law stemming from the Magna Carta. During this critical posture of usurpation, working as process of aggregating future political powers, treasonous factions in and of the existing political structure are attempting to contaminate and further pollute the remaining groundwater supply by directly injecting reclaimed water into the aquifer, intending to destroy our children's future prospect of a viable water supply using water as a Second Amendment weapon of choice, taking liberty, property, and life as a so-called due process in the 14th Amendment. I ask, in 30 years after all this constitutional betrayal and uncivilized governmental discourse takes place, what court system do I use to challenge such a barbaric constitutional undertaking? In and on its face, will the Water District assume and accept responsibility of and for the current political scheme, as the current Constitution is in actuality an orchestrated act of treason? Directly injecting reclaimed water into the aquifer is not a best use practice of disposing of our gray water. Directly injecting fecal nitrates into our aquifer is a loaded gun intent on laying the civilian population bare, as revealed in Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. In order to protect civilian life, we need to deal with the 14th Amendment jurisdictional issues now. the water district taxation in the form of a levy, I choose not to recognize unelected officials taxing the civilian population in the form of a levy. Thank you again.
Okay, next is Dan Hott.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Burton, County staff, Ms. White, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you regarding a very important issue within our community. Where do I set this? Here. The Tides Golf Course. I don't have to stand up here and tell you the history of this historic place and what it means to so many people in our community. More importantly, what that clubhouse meant to so many. It was a place where residents, visitors, a lot of tourists, friends, neighbors, and families shared stories and created memories that'll last a lifetime. It's where fathers brought their sons, mothers brought their daughters, where the old friends hung out, and where new friends were made every single day. As a former employee, I was fortunate to witness this and was very thankful to be welcomed with open arms. It was a place to celebrate, a place to get together as a community, and a place to enjoy great entertainment and friends on a daily basis. The Tides Clubhouse was more than just a clubhouse. Today, we are here to let you know that we will be appealing the county staff's decision for the demolition permit by the Development Review Services. The Tides building is a historically significant building which has served an important role both socially and culturally within Pinellas County community. That's why they want to destroy it. That building borders an environmentally sensitive area that will have impacts on our environment. Again, that's why they want to destroy it. Before you are signed petitions from your residents, over 200. And when we submit the appeal, there will be many more than that coming. Your community, the people you are supposed to represent, are speaking loud and clear. Please do something. Today actually marks the 1-year anniversary that we found out about the closure of the Tides Golf Course. The citizens and the residents of Pinellas County who pay property taxes on time are tired of hearing agenda items. We're thankful for some of the things that the county's doing, but we're tired of hearing agenda items that don't deal with the major issue that we are facing. When you go back to the water tower issue, the reason that's died down is because a bigger issue has hit our community. Protecting our green spaces and our golf courses matters. They do not only damage the residents and the community, but they also hurt our wildlife. Just a few pictures here if I get it organized. Get all shook up. I talked to Daisy, got her card for an anger management. There's the fence permit that was issued. That's what you get. Not only in our neighbors' backyards, but our wildlife are suffering. This gray horned owl, his talons were stuck in the black mesh tarp. That was from a permit issued by our Development Review Services. The clubhouse. If you've never been inside, it'll take a couple minutes if you don't mind, a couple seconds. A couple of our people that are residents that are fighting have signed that petition. That's what it looked like. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. That's your residents. That's the people we all represent, you all represent. We've had, getting off topic, we've had two town halls. There's the first one. There's the second one. More green shirts, bigger crowds. And we've had a rally to help us support this place. And we've seen no action by anybody. We appreciate our county staff and what they do, but with this issue, we're getting tired of it. And the residents and the community is going to start standing up for this place even more. And we'll do whatever it takes to stop the demolition permit. So we hope we have your support. I did talk to a good man, one of your longtime employees. He said there really wasn't nothing a citizen can do without a great attorney or a great engineer. But the board would listen, is what he told me. So I hope that's the case. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
We appreciate you being here, Dan. Kim Pearson says she wishes to give her time to Colleen Dannemiller. Is that correct? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Commissioners. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, County Administrator Burton. My name is Colleen Deanna Miller. I'm going to follow up a little bit on some things that Dan was touching base on. One of the issues that we're having with the demolition is that the county has not maintained the drainage easements in the area. Those easements dump directly into the protected bay, Boca Ciega Bay. I have talked to code enforcement repeatedly. I've written letters. Blake and I are corresponding. And what he did was he let me know that when you guys allowed, and I mean you guys because you're in charge of them, and allowed them to put up a fence, you gave them, the developer, put them in charge of maintaining a county drainage easement. This is in an area that is a huge area, possibly getting flooded in the future if there's any building going on there. You're going to let them take down a building that has toxic chemicals, and it's going to drain into a drainage easement that is blocked. I'm going to show you some of the pictures, okay? First of all, this is how it used to be maintained. This was my peaceful enjoyment. I don't know which way to put it. Over here. That was my peaceful, my peaceful enjoyment. Try to overlook all the endangered species that are there in that one picture from my backyard. But look how maintained it was. Look at the ravine, okay? We helped maintain one side, the golf course on the other, and the county would come in through the middle, okay? I have lots of pictures here, but these are some of the ones that currently from the last rain. This is that ravine now. This is what was dumped off after the first rain, okay? You can't even tell that's a ravine. What does that look like? That is a drainage ditch that is behind my house. It's a preserve. It also goes right into the Boca Ciega Bay. So what do you think happens when it rains and it comes into the lake off the golf course and goes down into the ravine behind my house? That was dumped off and now looks like a beaver dam. So when you take down that building that possibly has asbestos and all the other things my husband's going to talk further on as he has licenses in that area, it's going to dump off in my backyard and stop. What doesn't stop is going to drain through and go right into Boca Ciega Bay. I have asked them to come out and clear this repeatedly, okay? We can't get to it anymore because of the fence. The county can't hardly get to it because of the fence. Who is going to take care of this drainage issue?
So, Madam Chair, may I ask you, Colleen, if you don't mind if I call you Colleen?
Of course not.
When you say they and them, who are you referring to? Because how did they get to dump that there? Where did they come through?
This came naturally from the rain because the drainage easement hasn't been maintained by the county or the developers. Now, when I talked to Blake, what I was told was that, and I don't know how this was allowed to happen, because this is not fair and this does not represent your citizens. The developer went into what's called a maintenance agreement. Here's a copy of the maintenance agreement I was told about. It says right here, owner will bush hog property every 6 weeks. That hasn't happened since the closure of the tides. Let me tell you, you can clearly see, okay? What I would like to know is where are the penalties? Where is the accountability for us, the people who actually pay the taxes? Because we know that the people on the golf course didn't pay their taxes. I paid my taxes. Who is standing up for me? We are not allowed to talk to you guys about this. We are not allowed to approach you when the county is falling short of their obligation to us. Why would they give this responsibility to the developer? And where are the penalties for when the developer doesn't do it? So now my house is at flood for risk. This is not fair. This is not fair to us, okay? So then and Blake is here, he can defend himself, I think he's still here. He made a second email to me saying that the county was thinking about taking that back. So the county did come out a couple of days after my phone call. Well, I got really angry because the rain is coming, the hurricanes are coming. You just made a big announcement on the hurricanes and drainage. Where is it in my neighborhood? Okay? Where is it in my neighborhood? Call after call after call. This is not being taken care of. And now you're going to issue them a permit to demolition a building that is going to be draining into this very drainage easement. Okay, where do you think all that's going to go? Into my yard. What makes it through my yard goes out into a protected Boca Ciega Bay. You guys need to be aware of that. You need to sit on your staff regarding these things. I have lots of pictures that will make you sad and cry like it does me, because this is what my view used to look like, and now that's what it looks like. Can you imagine if this was your house, and your view, and your yard, and your life savings, and now this is what you're looking at? Can you just imagine how we feel? And we can't even talk to you about it, our elected officials. It's heartbreaking. Truly heartbreaking, and I hope you feel how I can feel standing up here looking at this. I'm sorry. I think I'm done now.
You did a great job, Colleen.
I'm
Thank
very
you for
sorry.
coming. Thank you for.
I hope you guys can help us in some way.
So at the end of the speakers, I would like to have our staff give us an update.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Steve, Dana Miller? And then Rob.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
I just got a new knee, so I'm hobbling around. But so I've been playing hooky from work. So obviously I'm entrenched in all this, and they told me today, you want to talk in front of the commission? I said, yeah, I'll give it a minute or two. So I just threw some quick bullet points. Real quick about me, I spent 25 years in the military and recently retired. And I bought my dream house on the golf course on the 18th at the Tithe. And I like to sit out back, drink a beer, and watch people kick the ball behind the cart and throw clubs in the pond. And now that's all gone. You don't golf, do you?
No.
Okay. Yeah. But anyhow. So yeah, I spent my life savings fixing up that house. And now I'm looking at a 40-foot wall of condos being potentially put back there. And that does not make me happy. It's so frustrating. You can see how much my wife loves the area, and we love it too. And we want to protect that. The developers told us they're going to put 9 feet of fill dirt on top of that property. I already look out my back window and it's 3 or 4 feet higher. So I'm going to be looking at 10, 15 feet of dirt. Where's all that going to go? Into that ravine and into my backyard. So I'm not happy. It's not going to end well. So back to the clubhouse, slated for a demo here coming up. As I understand it, they were telling me that they're delinquent on their property taxes. I don't know. It seems to me if they're not paying their tab, they shouldn't have anything done for them. Maybe hold up the process based on that. I don't know. I don't know how that works out. This morning I requested Mr. Lyons to send an email. I'm sure he has a million of them in his inbox. Just asking about the potential asbestos in that clubhouse, the hazardous waste that could be accumulating on the property over the years, and environmental assessments. So I don't know where any of that stands. Maybe he'll have an answer as far as where they are before they start tearing that place down. Because as they overturn that dirt, it's all going to wash into the pond, down the ravine. It's going to hang up in my backyard. And the dust is going to blow, and I just don't want to deal with it. So big concern with that. Pesticides, fertilizers, all of it's going to be in there. And again, that clubhouse is a symbol to our community. And to me, it can wait until the whole zoning battle plays out. So, I mean, they could take that thing down in a couple hours with a good backhoe operator, but I think it should wait. So, other than that, that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. Rob?
I'm a golfer in the group, but I'll take that off. I didn't bring any pictures or anything, but I grew up here and I've been running a league there on Thursday night for 20 years for folks that work during the day. And after the closure, we ended up going to Bardmore. And we lost about half. We were getting upwards of 50 people a week on Thursday afternoon. We lost about half of them. It's just simply economics. Bardmore's a lot more money, whether it's the cost of a beer or the cost of the round or the food for that matter. And now I find out that they're doing something to Bardmore. Well, where's the normal person supposed to be able to play golf in Pinellas County? I can't join that highfalutin place across from Bel Air, you know, unless one of y'all give me an invite. It's just kind of frustrating because I don't want to go to Largo Municipal. I'm 55, but I still hit the ball pretty good. So I don't want to play a par 3 course. I can't drive all the way down to Mangrove Bay. We won't get any following there because the majority of the folks that played on my Thursday night league lived in this area. So I'm not sure what's going on as far as knocking the building down, but it just seems like it's, you know, another nail in the coffin that we're not going to get our golf course back. So I'm a little emotional about it because, like I said, I grew up here and I ran a league there for 20 years, which is a good part of my adult life. And I'm not sure what you guys can do or what approach we should take, but I just wanted you to know that there's a lot of people that care about that property and would like to have it as a golf course. And if that's a possibility, well, hopefully. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't have any further cards on the tides, but I have Greg Pound's card, so you can go next, and then we'll get a report from the our staff.
Greg Pound, Largo, Pinellas County. I wanted to bring the issue up of families that's going for Pinellas County, and this is a verse out of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 6. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the land with a curse. Now, we're dealing with an issue of mental health that you talked about. And, you know, the framers of this country said that we were to be a self-governing people. And one of the things they said is that if you don't give up what's wrong, you lose your rights. That's the only way people lose their rights, is they refuse to give up what's wrong. And this is what we've got now. We've got a society that is so out of control and so undisciplined by the stuff that's being pushed on us through the television, Hollywood. Find out who owns Hollywood. China. Bought them out. They're producing all this filth that our children are watching. And you go ahead and you just take a look at Isaiah 9:16 says, "For it is the leaders of this people that cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed." So the Creator says, if, like Benjamin Franklin on the $100 bill, he said, rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. If we're not going to be a self-ruling people, people ruled by God, then we're going to be ruled by tyrants. And if you're going to become those tyrants that's going to rule over us. Do you know 2 people died last week at your methadone clinic before they even got to the bus stop? So you need to find out, you've got everybody in this county on drugs. I've sat in your county commission meetings where you receive something like $50,000 or $50 million or something to put people on drugs. I remember the meeting, so you could help people pay for their pharmaceutical needs. And now you got people at the methadone clinic dying before they get to the bus stop. Okay, so that they need to be checked out on what's going on the methadone they're giving to people. And then you've got this major problem with this gay pride parade coming up. And you go and look, it's the children. You go and look at all the children at that parade. The last time I was there, you're talking about men walking around in G-strings, women with no tops on. I mean, the people in the jungle wear more clothing than what they've got downtown St. Pete. And the acts that they're committing right in front of children. I want to know why in the world, I mean, how can you allow this in our county? I mean, you're destroying our families. The foundation is families. And this is what we've got. We've got a major problem coming and destroying our families. We got more women graduating from college now. We got more women working than men now. We got more women attorneys than men. Who's going to build the families? Who's going to be the women were the home builders. They were the ones who built the homes. It was the man's responsibility to be the priest, the 3 Ps, priest, provider, and protector. That's the man's job. He's to be the priest of his home, the spiritual leader. He's supposed to be the provider and the protector of the family. And you men are going to pay for it. I'm telling you, I'm appealing to you to do something about what's going on in our society.
Okay, Mr. County Administrator.
All right, I'm going to ask Blake to join us up here to kind of provide a brief explanation regarding some of the issues. And obviously the issues are when we have regulatory requirements, they're very specific to individual pieces. So the issues of the fence, the issues of the building are completely separate from anything that would occur with zoning. So if you can kind of outline and also kind of outline what is by right and what that term means legally.
Thank you for the opportunity again, Blake Lyon, Director of Building and Development Review Services. When the County Administrator mentions by right, our zoning ordinance is set up, and as you know, there are certain uses that are allowed inherent to private property rights. responses, and we set those up. And then we have other uses that require additional considerations. We refer to those now as type 2. They can be special exceptions or other uses that require conditional uses to come before the board. And so we have those things that are inherently by right uses that are allowed on those private properties. With regard to the fence, that is the case. Every property within Pinellas County has the right to construct a fence. When they come in and do so, they're required to get a zoning clearance, which indicates where that fence can be on the property, the height, the materials that it can be made of, so on and so forth. If it exceeds certain parameters, it requires them to go forward and, again, get a variance for those, or certain parameters are required for the building permit for wind load criteria, foundation details, so on and so forth. When we talk about development activity, the clubhouse was allowed to be built on that property as in association with it. The property owners have the right to be able to take that down. The county administrator was correct, and that is a standalone action that is separate and apart from any subsequent action that the property owners may wish to take on that property, such as a land use or a zoning change. So when the item comes before our staff to review it, it really goes through kind of a 3-step process. It goes through a plan review, a site plan review, so we evaluate as part of that site plan where the construction staging areas are, what is being requested, what's the scope and scale of what's being requested. It goes through a habitat review, which looks at tree protection measures, soil erosion control related issues, are there any special status species, and it goes through that evaluation. And then thirdly, it goes through the building review, and that's typically looking at making sure that proper utilities are disconnected, sewers capped, the building is taken down accordingly. One of the comments that you heard today was with regard to the asbestos. That is a process that goes underway, so the county building department reviews and issues the demolition permit. The contractor that is doing that work has the requirement to go through and do that asbestos survey. They submit that asbestos survey to our air quality department and then also register that survey with the state. They have then a 10-day process by which to make sure that that's on file before they do any of that work. So that still has to take place. They haven't done that portion of it yet. I just checked with our division director for air quality this morning, and they still are required to do that. So while the county has issued the demolition permit, they still have work to do on the ownership side of it. So we want to be clear about that. We've communicated to a number of the community members that have expressed some concern about this and advised them, because this is a process by which the staff has rendered a decision under the Land Development Code, there is an appeal process. That is a 15-day appeal window. They have the opportunity to appeal that and have the item brought forward for further consideration. So that appeal period will close on the 28th of this month, and we'll see under which grounds they choose to appeal, and we'll provide some clarification on that. So,
but just on that piece, before you go further, I mean, just because, regardless of what we think of the developer, who they are, what they are, it's like with your own individual property rights, and that's one of the, you have to look at it legally and from an emotional standpoint. It doesn't matter if they have the right to build a fence, they have a right to build that fence, and if we simply denied it based upon the fact that we don't like them, we don't like what they're doing, or any other thing, they would simply appeal that to court and it would be overturned. So we have to follow our regulatory guidance regarding those individual standalone by right issues.
And it's important.
But you said that you have a 15. Who has the 15-day right to appeal?
Any party that feels aggrieved by the decision.
Right. I just wanted that on the record.
And it's important to note that to prejudge or predetermine or deny the issuance of the demolition permit on something that hasn't even occurred yet, which is an application for rezoning, would show some prejudice on our part and put us in a much, in my opinion, a much more negative position.
Commissioner Gerard.
Just a couple of questions. So if during that process they found asbestos, they would be required to mitigate that as they were bringing the building down?
Absolutely.
That's very
asbestos
detailed.
abatement, lead-based paint.
The other question is there anything anywhere in our code that where we could require somebody to continue operating a business if they don't want to?
No.
I knew the answer to that. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
understood.
hear you say it out loud.
Well, and I think the other point that I'd like to mention is through the county staff's review and consideration of this, we made a concerted effort to have the restoration of the land put back in place. So the clubhouse itself has, if you think about it, it's a two-story structure, but the lower portion is where the golf carts used to come in. And so instead of just having them demolish that and leave the foundation in place, we actually went through the effort of talking with the property owner and making sure that they regrade and restabilize the soil and take it entirely back to to graded earth and open space and that dedication, again, with no predetermination or presumption on what may come in the future. So it's going back to open space, land area, based on the permit issuance that we've made.
Okay. Commissioner Justice and Commissioner Long, and then Commissioner Eggers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Where are we at as far as the drainage easement and the maintenance of that part of it?
So
I know that.
Ms. Dana Miller has a very good point, and as she mentioned, we are in communication. So we went through when the property owner chose to put up the fence around their perimeter. The county has a couple different drainage easements that are on that property. There's one that goes down the eastern side of the property, and then there's the one in the northwest portion of the property. And the one that's being discussed today was the one that was in the northwest portion of the property. And I don't want to put words in Public Works' mouth, and Raheem can certainly speak to this better than I can, but one of the things that we do when we look at the drainage easements that's there, we often take this property owner's side. We will work with property owners and say, okay, we have a county obligation to maintain that easement for flow, not aesthetics, but just flow rate that goes through there. If they choose to do something that restricts or impedes our ability, they can take on that maintenance responsibility. What the concern is, and what's been represented, is that they haven't been doing that from a vegetation and growth perspective. So I reached back out to the property owner and said, okay, we need to make sure we're on the same page here and understand that it's your obligation to maintain this in agreement with the maintenance records that we have to county standards. You have two options, is the way I phrase it to them. The first option is you maintain it according to county standards and keep the existing perimeter fence in the location it is. Or secondly, if you choose to have it go back onto the county maintenance schedule, the fence that's there has to be moved back a little further, because the way we maintain it is we drive along the top of bank with a long arm that reaches in and basically mows out the middle of it. So I've put that option to him as saying, which of the two do you want? Because we can't continue to leave the citizens' questions unaddressed, and so I'm waiting on a response for that.
And how long do they have, the property owner have to respond to that?
He indicated to me he's traveling, but he'll be back to me on Tuesday.
I'm sorry?
He'll get back to me on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Is what he indicated.
And then, Madam Chair, that was a specific issue, but on a more global issue, we have several properties, and the residents have represented that the property owner here has not paid their taxes or other things, those kind of things. But and we've talked about this in a very in-depth issue last year with some of the Lellman properties. I think it's worth having a workshop, whether it's one of our Thursdays or whatever, to understand where we are legally as far as our ability to regulate and follow enforcement. Really, I guess not regulate, but enforce our rules on property owners.
Okay. Okay.
Because I know I talked to the county attorney a while back, and there were some concerns about what we could do and couldn't do, and just to have some clarity on that for when we're out talking with the public, that would be helpful.
Okay. I too was concerned about the drainage easement, and so, typically, when a drainage easement is there on a private property, it's the private property's owners. They're supposed to keep it clear. If they don't come back and correspond, are we going to start fining them?
We can certainly do that, or to the commissioner's point, we can go back in there and perform the maintenance ourselves.
But then can we charge the owner?
Well, and the challenge that we need to, we certainly can do that. We have an easement in place, so we don't necessarily need to do that, but that's certainly an option to consider. Typically, we would, on lot mowing or lot clearing liens, we post a notice. By law, we're required to give a certain amount of time to give them to correct, and then we can go on and perform the work and lien the property for the, to cover
But how
those
long
costs.
have you been trying to get this drainage easement issue resolved? It
There's
looks like
been-
it's been going on for quite some time.
Well, in all fairness, the issue of it not being addressed or maintained in this northwest corner just got brought to my attention about a week ago.
About a week ago,
So we've been trying to address that. Now, that's not to say that the owner has done their responsibility in keeping to the schedule that we had indicated, but the growing season changes. So we're now into the higher growing season, and so it's only really become an issue in the last several weeks. And it's she has some valid
Well, just from
points in
a,
that.
you know, we just had the mosquito control presentation today. Just from that problem, we should be, you know,
Well,
I
and my
appreciate that you're trying to rapidly do
Yeah.
it, but let's
It's,
keep it on
it's,
the
it's an issue, and we need to enforce it.
Yeah.
And we need to be aggressive with the property owner.
Okay. Commissioner Long and then Commissioner Eggers.
Oh, yes, and I am really working hard not to be emotional about this issue, but I have lived in this community for over 40 years. I've been in that clubhouse many, many times, and I've played on that golf course. That said, this issue with the tides and several other golf courses has been ongoing for several years now in some form or capacity. I'm on the trail all the time. I can never go down that trail anymore without running into someone I know who lives around the Tides Golf Course or Bay Point or Ardmore. I go to Mass at Blessed Sacrament, which is just down the street. This is not a good feeling to be in this position where we don't have the ability to actually communicate with the people who elected us to represent them. And while I understand our regulations and our code enforcement and all of that, these people are living with this situation 24 hours a day. There are families that live there. Besides the fact that we talked about the mosquito issue, it's a public health and safety issue. That kind of picture that this lady showed us is a breeding ground for snakes and rats and all other kinds of nasty little animals. So, you know, I get the property rights and all of that argument. These folks have property rights too. And I think there needs to be, and maybe this doesn't apply in government anymore, but a little common sense here. Why we're addressing the issue of the building being torn down before we've even addressed the issue of the zoning is insane to me. The damage will already be done. It's backwards. Blake, I mean, I don't know how else to express myself. I don't live on the golf course, but it's hugely frustrating to me to listen to the way in which we are approaching this, because that little clubhouse is a community gathering place. It's what makes our community a community. And after you take it down, what are they supposed to do? Start all over and build another one maybe someday? I don't know. It's just ridiculous, in my opinion. So thank you, Madam Chair. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, when you start thinking about this, you travel in and out of using your emotions and using your thinking process, and you try to think through things. It just seems to me that we have a system that doesn't put enough emphasis on making sure that folks are abiding by any rules and regulations within the county, and whatever they are, whether it's paying taxes, whether it's putting fences up, it may be rightly so, but not taking care of drainage and public safety issues. That any issue with regards to doing anything for them on a permit basis or anything, I don't care if it's the land or building, should be at bay. I just don't understand how we continue to reward either incompetence or it's just a system that just, I agree with Commissioner Justice, that we have to look at that because, I go back to the second point I wanted to bring up. On the way in to having a building built there originally, they got the zoning done or whatever needed to be done, the land use done, whatever needed to be done, the site plan done, the building built, in that order. And it seems like on the way out, they ought to have some kind of procedure to tie the two together. I mean, this use of this land, all these acres of land are tied to the use of this building to support it. And I understand how you might want to separate the two and say, well, they can do whatever they want with the building, it's separate from the land, but they are integrally tied together. This isn't one or the other. You can't have the land without the building. I mean, you can't have that building, there's no reason to have that building on that land unless you're going to use it as a golf course. So they are tied together. And so, I mean, I understand the legal arguments and everything else. We're living in a world where there is a constriction of golf use. I get that, and there's going to be that, whether it's in this county or in this community. But I think we shouldn't, in that process, we should do whatever we can to make sure that the folks that we're trying to help out, that developer to do his thing, then he has to do the right things along the way. And if you don't, then how do we reward that? How do we begin to, even with good conscience, reward that? And again, your hands may be tied, Blake. I'm not saying that. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying we need to have some of that discussion, I think, to...
Can I offer one point
please.
of clarity in response to that? And I know there are differing opinions about this, but when this issue got brought up several months back, there are 2 code enforcement violations that were on that property. One of them was respect to the growth of the vegetation that was there. The second one was what we referred to as a minimum housing, which was the the clubhouse falling into disrepair. So the property owner has options at that point. They can repair the building to bring it back into code compliance, or they could demolish the building and abate the violations in that manner. Both of which are options that exist for the private property owner, both of which would address the code enforcement related issues. The question becomes, as a property owner, what is their choice, preference, ability but this is one of their opportunities to respond to the existing code enforcement violations.
What was the first one again, Mike?
They can either repair the building.
Oh, repair the building. Or demolish it.
Or demolish it. Because both would abate the violation, right? Because the violation is a deterioration of the building.
Right.
So the question becomes, from a property owner standpoint, do you want to chase repairing the building if, as a property owner, you're making a decision not to continue or pursue that use?
Yeah, but again, we're providing a service to somebody who's not complying on every single level.
Thank you.
So why should we go out of our way, as a county, as a governing body, I'm not talking about up here, I'm talking about to reward that? I mean, so fix it. Fix it so it's tolerable, so it can maintain it, so it can stay standing until the issues are resolved. And I'm not talking about the issues of the zoning and land. I'm talking about the issues of taking care of the drainage ditch and making sure that those kinds of things are taken care of. So paying the back taxes. And I mean, I know you can't always link these things.
Right.
But you can see how frustrating it is for the normal human being, okay, that doesn't work within this tightly knit system, that I think we just need to start to figure out a common sense approach to some of this stuff. It's just...
That's what I said.
Well, then we agree.
Mr. Gerard?
Well, I would agree that we need to talk this out and figure out a way to speed up our process. Because it's not just golf courses, it's, the house down the street from me that was in horrible disrepair for the longest time. And I know that there were, years' worth of code enforcement actions going on, and we know properties all over the county that are like that. Somehow, we just need to be able to speed that up for the sake of the neighbors. The other thing, though, is, we had a whole different golf course where the building was a problem. Of course, we want somebody to go in there and mow the property once a week, just like we do ours. But the building caught on fire, and we'd like to see the building come down.
Right.
So it's like, they're all different issues that we're dealing with. Again, there's no way we can make them operate a golf course. I'm sorry, I understand that that's what you bought, but there's no way to do that. But the other, if you think that through to the end for us, so then what? Somebody owns a piece of property, and heaven knows we've tried to say, don't buy a piece of property that is now a golf course thinking that you're going to redevelop it into housing. You may be able to, or you may not be able to. But you might want to find that out first, because the responsibility, just like that house down the street that was not maintained, you can't just walk away from your property, and somebody has to maintain it. And so, frankly, we don't want that to be the county. We can go in there and do that sometimes, but we don't want it to be the county for the next 50 years. So we have some issues that we need to talk through on that end too. I mean, how much property do we want or need? And if somebody doesn't want to operate a business there, what are they supposed to do about that? Believe me, I'm not saying that they should build condominiums on it or houses or whatever, but unfortunately, we have a number of communities in this county that were built around golf courses or tennis courts or whatever. And that's not the way, apparently those aren't sustainable anymore. So that's a problem for the entire county, not just for y'all, but for the entire county. And there are how many golf courses in Pinellas County right now
There are
that are not
17
private?
in unincorporated Pinellas.
17 in unincorporated Pinellas. It's a problem that we need to think through to the end, and that we need to speed up our process.
I think
But-
one signal should be that when you buy a property like this, that you have responsibilities to it until whatever process you go through, so that and if you want to take those responsibilities on, then, and if you don't, then don't expect
Right.
the permit process to be friendly. So, I just think, again, forget the big picture thing here, which I think a lot of these folks care about too, but we just got to make sure that just the connection between good behavior and providing service, the basic service rights that they think they have, should be tied to doing the basic positive things. Like, you buy a property, you pay taxes on it, you take care of it, you keep it maintained, and then you go through the permitting process, and then you do. That's just the normal. And instead, we're going to reward. And that's the part that's always bothered me in all of this. And we get stuck with it when banks own the property, or when it's in foreclosure and all that stuff. And here we are dealing with the owner of the property. And we're not even, so.
Okay. I think Barry wants to say something, then Commissioner Justice, and then I'll come back around.
I was going to close it out, but I think there's more discussion. I think the issue is we can certainly put it on for an agenda workshop to talk about having where there can be links to different pieces. In other words, can you get a fence permit when you know that there's a rezoning or something? Legally, I don't know. Right now, it's a standalone action. It's designed around, if I had a 5-acre parcel and I have 3 buildings, do I, as a property owner, have the right to say, I don't want this building anymore? Can I demolish it? That's the way the regulation is written, and that's an individual property right. Can we say, because I didn't pay my taxes, then I can't get a demolition permit or a fence permit? Those are things that we can certainly put on a workshop, but that's not the environment that we have today, the regulations that we have to apply in these particular circumstances. But we can certainly put that on for future workshop, and I can get a legal review to determine what it is that we can do and maybe address it differently in the future.
Commissioner Justice.
And I think part of the discussion is what you just mentioned. Part of the discussion is we talked about you all working on a process for parcels that would be out there for potential for county purchase, what that would look like and how it would go through the mechanism evaluation. But then maybe part of the discussion should be, since golf courses are a real issue for us, of what does that mean? And not just sitting back and waiting for the application to come, but how can we be proactive on some of these golf courses about moving the ball forward, whether it's in a rezoning or whether it's in an operation? And do we want to? I mean, is that even a role for us? I don't know. But it's frustrating, I think, for all of us to kind of just be sitting here in status, just waiting for the application to come before we can really have a conversation about it.
Madam Chair.
Well, we could go ahead and agenda, though, a conversation about golf courses in general. There's no reason why we can't do that, as well as talk about our processes and enforcement and so on. I will turn over here, but I concur with Commissioner Gerard. I think we do need something faster. And if we recognize that vegetation management was an issue before, then we need to go back out and inspect the property and not wait for the homeowners to come in here and say, help me, because that shouldn't be how we operate, right?
Yeah, and I think if we need more code enforcement to do that, then we need to know. We need to do that.
Yeah. Commissioner Long?
Yes, and I'll be very brief. Number one, I want to say, I'm not mad at you, Blake.
I don't think he was worried.
Blake's tried to respond very quickly and appropriately.
I'm very sensitive and appreciate very much your very calm and thoughtful demeanor as we're, thank goodness, because you can see some of us are a little on the top of the flagpole here. But, I'd venture to say with those 17 courses, we don't have a lot of them that are bordering the intercoastal waterway, number one. And number two, that is a very secluded community, if you will. There's one little teeny road in and out, and then on one end, there's this huge, our big park, the Millennium Park. So this question of just forgive that I don't know, but at what point do we look at whatever this application is going to be and have a conversation about, are you kidding me? We're going to put all this additional traffic on that little teeny road? Because there's also a big Catholic church on the corner and a school, an elementary school. So when do we talk about all of that?
Well, that certainly would be, you certainly have the right to talk about it in the broader context of recreational open space as a county through the comprehensive plan or through any other policy documents.
Well, I was more thinking about our stormwater management needs, especially with all the little ponds and stuff on that property.
And you raise an interesting point in that there are several different perspectives that you need to look at any particular issue. There's the broader comprehensive plan approach to how the county wants to address recreation open space as a whole. Then there becomes the question of how do we want to look at it on the specific context and parameters around a particular golf course or a particular community. And so we can look at those very things that you're discussing and identifying. So we can do that in the more generic sense ahead of any formal application. We do that in the more specific sense once we know what is being requested or what's being asked of the county. Because part of what begins to inform our evaluation and our decision process with respect to the traffic impacts or the environmental impacts or all those things is what is being put on the table for consideration. You've heard, and I'm sure in many projects before, things like trip generation, and these are technical terms that talk about how many cars are coming in and out of a project, which roads are they using, which roads are they trying to go to. We look at all facets of that when we get into the actual request, so we know quantities and volumes and how to go through from an analytical perspective and give detailed responses to help the commission make educated and informed decisions. And really that's the goal in all of this, and that's why staff has had to be very hands-off about making any of those comments or prejudgments, because we don't have that in front of us at this point to make an educated position.
Do you have any idea when you will?
It really, in part, again, it depends on which perspective you're talking about. There's certainly the opportunity at this point for the commission to talk about it at a very broad scope and how we want to deal with recreation open space, and that certainly can be brought before, through the county administrator, through a workshop. But the more specific answer is going to depend on when we get an actual application.
Which we don't even have yet.
We don't have that yet. And
we do not. And I actually met with Blake and some of the attorneys on my staff earlier today, and some of you may recall, I don't know if you do, myself and some others, I can't recall who all was on the email, we were specifically advised by the attorney for the property owner in September of last year that they intended to apply for a zoning and land use change. And the discussion we had earlier is we're coming up on a year here shortly, and we still don't have an application. So we're going to be checking to see if there is genuinely a plan to move forward, because it has been quite some time since we were put on notice and we have not received an application.
On that point, can we, is there an application, usually when there is an application filed, we're then we stand back. And when an application hasn't even been filed, why are we standing back in terms of being able to communicate with residents?
When we receive notice that they intend to file, we will advise you all not to speak. And I can tell you part of the reason why is many, many years ago, a lot of those conversations would happen and then they would file an application. And in my opinion, that does not comport with due process. And I think things were done intentionally many years ago to get around that cone of silence, if it were. Where we advise you all not to speak with developers. So here, when we were put on specific notice by the property owner's representative that we intend to apply for a zoning change, which is quasi-judicial, I advised you all back at that time, which again was September of 2018, not to speak with them. It has been quite some time since then, and I question whether we will have a plan forthcoming.
But Jewel, there's a big difference between talking with the developers and talking with the citizens.
From a legal perspective, there's no difference whatsoever.
Well, that's ridiculous.
It's
the most frustrating.
I understand completely, but that is the process so that each side gets a fair hearing, and it's in front of a public, in a public forum, so that it doesn't have prejudice.
But in the meantime,
either
Chair,
side.
our citizens' lives are being impacted.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Can
I
this just hang
understand.
out there forever?
Well,
What if they don't apply for another 2 or 3 years?
Well, I think what Joel is saying is that at this point, since it's been a year, that we will follow up and see if there is indeed still an intent to file for a change, and then she'll let us all know. So.
And so the filing
I do
itself-
understand
the filing itself
frustrations.
isn't it's what freezes us. I don't know what the right term is, but it's the intent to, which, you know what they say about intentions, right? And I think that's what really concerns me, because I think it is a game playing tool that we have no idea. So what? I intend to buy that property. What does that mean? It doesn't
Nevertheless, and again, we're really happy, sad that you have to be here, but happy that you're here, because you can come in this forum and present your concerns as a public forum so that we can address them here in a public forum. So there is a way around this, and it's coming to your government and being heard publicly. It's not what you would probably hope for or wish for, but it is the public's work.
And I think the intent thing that you talked about and how long that should be able to hold up as far as when is the application actually coming needs to kind of be looked at. That's a different conversation, but you can't hold that forever, right? So somewhere between forever and a month probably works.
All right, thank you very
you,
much.
Blake.
And we will try to get your
Thanks, Blake.
answer for you on the drainage easement as soon as possible, because I understand your concern about that. We don't normally do this, but we'll,
I had 3 more minutes from her, but I
just
got too emotional.
real quickly, if you could,
You know, for the appeal process, we have to pay $375. Why do we have to pay $375 out of my own pocket to be able to talk to an appeal board and bring forth these issues? I mean,
I don't have an answer for that one.
why do I have to pay $375 to get to my people who I put in office? I just don't understand that. We're bringing forth some very important issues. You know, have they done a phase 1 environmental assessment on turning up the dirt? We know that that dirt around the clubhouse is probably contaminated. Blake just said, you know, just this morning about the asbestos. Had we not written him that email this morning, they'd have a permit that's already been accepted before they've even done the cart before the horse. You brought that up, Mr. Eggers. They haven't done the asbestos permit, but they've already accepted the permit. So in order for me to bring these things up, I have to pay $375 to appeal, to bring up these phase 1 environmental issues and asbestos issues. The permit's already been through, and nobody's even looked at all of these other issues. So we as homeowners have a right to have these things looked at without paying for it. I'm sorry, but we do.
One more piece of
Yeah.
information.
Okay. Thank you, Colleen.
Mr. Tu, the representative of the property owner, is watching our conversation
Yeah.
and has just emailed me and indicated they will be filing before the July deadline for a zoning change.
For a what?
For a
It
zoning
says for a
change?
zoning change. It says we have the CPA ready for filing. I assume that may be referring to the Countywide Planning Authority, and he said zoning as well.
Okay.
And Blake, I'm sure, can share what the July deadlines may be. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I put you on the spot.
I don't know that I can recall it off the top
During the
of my
month of
head.
July.
Yeah. I wanted to provide one point of clarification. There's no cart before the horse with regard to the asbestos process.
Yes.
We go through, we evaluate the demolition permit application, we issue those, the contractor, demolition contractor is obligated by law to go through and do the asbestos. That's the typical process that we go through on any demolition permit. So that portion of it is not out of sequence. That's the normal process. They have once they do the asbestos abatement report, then they have to provide 10 days notification prior to actually commencing the work to demolish it. And the property owner is well aware of, as well as the demolition contractor, that the appeal process is. The other comment with regard to the 375, that is the adopted and established appeal fee that's part of our normal fee structure, so that's why that is.
That's something I think we could discuss, but it may have some legalities behind it. So we'll add
I
that
think
to
part of
our,
that is intended to cover some of the public notice
enforcement
requirements.
We'll add this to our workshop when we talk about those. Okay, thank you again for being here, and well, we were able to at least have a conversation. Okay, number 32, it's the reappointment to the Greater Seminole Area Special Recreation District, and it's approving the reappointment of Mark Strickland.
Move approval. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Justice, second by Commissioner Welch.
I've been sitting here so long, I logged out.
Who are we missing?
There you go.
Okay, unanimous approval. We'll move on to County Commission new business items, and I believe the only one is item by Commissioner Long. You all should have a hard copy in front of you.
Yes, Madam Chair, this new business item, and I do apologize to everyone for the last minute notice about it, but it has to do with the equine activities going on down by the Skyway Bridge. And it's very I'm trying to find my paperwork here, I apologize. It's, you know, The thing that is just really egregious to me is the fact that these horses are coming up there and charging $150 an hour and making over $10,000 in a week, having our folks, tourists and whatever, ride their horses in the water. So as someone who used to own and ride horses for the bigger part of my life, a horse is a very large animal, and when they decide they want to go to the bathroom, they just do. And
You mean you can't teach them to go potty?
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Go litter box.
You cannot teach them to go in a litter box or anywhere else. They're a very large. Yeah. So you get my point. I'm trying to be delicate here, but you know they even have people trying to go behind the horses and scoop up the poop, but it still is in the water, and they can't get it all. And there are families out there. They're all laughing at me. But there are families, there are families out there with little kids in that water, and that's an aquatic preserve. So I think that our county regulations, ordinances, or whatever, should prohibit that kind of activity in our waterways. Not to mention, I don't know who's covering the liability on that.
Right. Well, I understand it's coming to your Agency on Bay Management meeting on June 13th.
And Kelly is actually
It already
been
did.
working on this, so I thought she could update you
Hey,
on
thank you
the
for
way in
still
which
being
you,
here and bailing me out of the ditch.
and the way you modify the management plan.
I didn't have to bail you out. You did just fine.
Thank you.
Kelly Levy, Division Director, Environmental Management. Yeah, this has been actually going on for the better part of 3 years, but in much smaller, 2 horses here, 2 horses there, and we are kind of watching it. And in the last year and a half or so, it's kind of exploded. There's more than a dozen horses out there at a time. I've been working with the Department of Environmental Protection for over a year. We've had meetings with the companies. We've met out on site. We've watched the activity. We've collected samples, submitted the data to the department, worked with them. It was a little difficult initially. The change in administration seems to have loosened the wheels of progress a little bit and moved us in a forward path. The department was willing to develop a guidance document for best practices for horseback riding within aquatic preserves that pretty much precludes riding through seagrass beds and prohibits waste in the water. I know at the Agency on Bay Management meeting on the 13th, the group that had a conversation, the report back to me was that they did not feel that the guidelines went far enough. They needed to be strengthened. So I know that they're going to be submitting a letter to the department with those recommendations to strengthen that language. The Pinellas County Aquatic Preserve Management Plan was just open, and we submitted a significant amount of comments last week that the department is going to incorporate into that document, including guidelines for horseback riding within aquatic preserves. I think their plan is to kind of make that guidance universal. There are 41 aquatic preserves in the state of Florida, and to make those guidelines consistent throughout the aquatic preserves. One of the challenges that I personally have had with this process is that there is Florida statutes that preclude these type of activities from happening in 18-20. I've brought it to the state's attention on numerous occasions and tried to encourage them to utilize the process that they already have in place to, to control those activities or regulate those activities. But there's been, it's just been kind of a stalled effort. We've continued to try to push forward. Obviously, the folks have becoming more aware of it, and so now it's come full circle. And Barbara Sheen Todd was kind of the one bringing it to the Agency on Bay Management to talk about it, and so that's where we are right now. Is we're still working with the state to move the Aquatic Preserves Management Plan forward with the guidance document. But there will need to be some sort of regulatory system in place to to address it.
So my plea to the rest of my colleagues here, correct me if I say this wrong, Kelly, is I forgot to mention the part about how the horses are destroying the seagrasses. And that's problematic at best for the quality of our waterways. And while the state is, doing their thing, we all know how that works, I think we should take action here to provide our own restrictions on this issue. It's our waterway on our coastline and our families that are being impacted, right?
That was going to be my question. Where are they actually departing and traveling? And, it's on private property, public property? I mean, I don't even know where.
Public property, it's DOT right-of-way. So they come up, the Skyway from Mayaca City, and then there's one local here, so depending on which way they're coming from. If you're coming from the Pinellas side, you get off at the pier, fishing pier, and you do the U-turn underneath, and they pull up on the DOT right-of-way right there along the road, and they unload the horses there. They usually have 4 trips a day, so the horses are out there for an extended period of time. They'll have one ride. They demoed kind of the process for us, so their customers will come. They do a little orientation. They go out for like a little circular ride, which you can really see the damage in the seagrass and the aerials from the way they go out. They go out, they ride through the seagrass, they do a loop around, and then they come back. And trying to say this delicately, in that initial pass, the horses tend to relieve themselves, which gives them an opportunity to remove some of the waste. And then they go out through the seagrass bed, out to the sandbar, do a loop around there, and then come back through the seagrass bed to where they started. They offload. The horses are fed and brought back on shore, and then a new group of people come, and they do it again, about 4 times a day.
So it is a state-level property that they're accessing the water.
Correct. So it's waters of the county, sovereign submerged lands, and DOT right-of-way. And we've all been involved. We've all been at the meetings. We've all had conversations. We are actually DOT's enforcement arm for water quality issues. We have an interlocal with DOT, so when there's an environmental violation in their roadway, their drainage system, we do that for them. So, we do have regulations in place as far as water quality. The seagrass part is where we don't really have something that we could implement.
We've been watching it for a while, and it was in small enough numbers that it wasn't too concerning, or we were still concerned, but now it's heightened because of the amount.
When we first heard about it about 3 years ago, it literally was like a couple people pulling off with a horse trailer and a couple, it really was not at the level that it is now, when you can go out on a given weekend and there's 12 on one side and 12 on the other. So 12 on the east, 12 on the west. It's horses, yes. It's
that's a problem in my mind.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just as, I just Googled it, because I'd seen pictures of people doing it on Facebook, but I'd really never thought much about it, to be honest. And there's a handful of companies that operate these out of either south or north of the Skyway. But one of them, GWA, Great World Adventures, has actually suspended their operations.
Correct. He voluntarily did that.
Voluntarily, because they didn't want to be damaging the environment, so.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Shout out for them.
Yeah.
Commissioner Welch.
Well, this has been an interesting day of.
We're going to have a short evening, though.
Oh, you just jinxed it.
Oh, yeah. Just jinxed it.
Of very complex issues, and I can always count on Commissioner Long to bring me new, interesting endeavors. Our Pinellas Trail connects via the Skyway Trail right to this, and so I've ridden my bike down there several times and thought it was great. I mean, you can see the horses, and it's therapeutic. Never thought about the problems that you talk about And certainly when Kelly's talking about it, I can be assured the science is correct on it. So interesting that Commissioner Justice saw that one of the vendors is already pulled out. Is there anything else the vendors can do to mitigate the problem with the waste in the water?
There's really not.
Have you ever been horseback riding?
Maybe one time.
They have been,
It was
when
a
we were
pony,
out there, they do try to scoop it up. They have like a bucket and a pool skimmer, and they try to remove as much as possible. The thing is, when they go way out there, it was just rolling in with the tide.
Yeah, they do go way out, right?
They go way out, and they.
I mean, are the horses swimming at one point? Because I
It
saw something
depends
on
on
Channel
the tide.
10 where.
It depends on
they
the
go-
tide, but a representative from the Department of Environmental Protection was at the Agency on Bay Management meeting, and he went out and did a little environmental assessment himself, which, multiple people have now, and it's all confirmed that, they are basically, if you can imagine the weight of a horse and their hooves, it's basically like a post driver going down through the seagrass. It's crushing the roots. He said you can put your hand all the way down there. He said it's pretty dramatic.
Is there anywhere where this would make sense and be less damaging?
Obviously if there's, I do know that one of the companies rides down in Palmasola. I don't know about the resource issues in that particular area of Manatee County. I know they've been riding down there for quite some time. But from the waste issue, there just isn't. They just go. I honestly had not, until we went out there, we had a field meeting with them and watched it. I had no idea how much waste
And
it
you've got
was.
people in the water not far from there at all.
It's a multi-use area, so there's kite boarding, there's jet skiing, there's wade fishing, there's just families sitting there.
Right.
Little kids.
It's a multi-use area.
Okay, and Oldsmar is looking at this right now. They texted our office to see about they wanted to take the county's lead on this to see what was going on, because they have parks that are located right next to the water as well, and I'm sure they're being asked the same question about doing this. And instead of just jumping into it, they really wanted to see how the county was going to handle or is handling it. So it's right here in our own.
I corresponded with them as well and kind of gave them some information. It had been dealt with probably over 10 years ago in the Motley Bayou area. So we had some challenges there.
Yeah.
So, Commissioner, just a question. So there's nothing that we can do without the state?
Sure. I
Guess that was for the
can
attorney.
go through ordinance violations for the waste. But that, it just, at the end of the day, it's, it could get problematic because they don't own the land that they're operating on. They don't have an agreement, which is part of my argument with the state. So there's nothing tying them there, other than the fact that if I were to go through the process and they ignored me, then I'd have to take them to court. Can't go through magistrate process because it's not their property. We were hoping that, they would, like the one company, he just decided he does riding in the Southwest Florida Water Management District property down in Manatee County. It's uplands, it's trails. The Water Management District has provided us with a list of, they have tons of equestrian trails on the Southwest Florida Water Management District managed lands. They set aside acres for equestrian use and wanted to encourage vendors to utilize those properties.
And listening to Kelly, we could obviously issue ordinance violations as long as it's within our jurisdiction, but hearing what Kelly has to say, that's not going to solve the problem. Nothing short of them ceasing operations is going to solve the problem.
Right.
So that's
No, but it
really
would encourage them to move someplace else
Sure.
if we find them every time they.
What I'm asking is that we adopt an ordinance that prohibits it in our waterways.
Prohibits what? Horses?
Back riding in the seagrasses, however it's supposed to be worded, Kelly.
I think we could certainly look at something to deal with seagrasses. I would encourage you not to be so limiting because I can't think of what it might be, but there could be some other use that would damage seagrasses in a similar manner. So I think we're best off sticking with an ordinance that protects the resource rather than focuses on any particular user group.
And what you were trying to do is make modifications to your aquatic management plan, correct?
Well, it's the state's aquatic management plan for the preserve. It's not our plan.
But if they agreed to make changes to that, then they could ban that within their preserves. That would address the issue.
They actually, it's different because the group that actually develops and adopts the plan has no regulatory authority. It's a different branch of DEP that has a regulatory authority. And so pursuant to Chapter 1820 Florida statutes or Florida Administrative Code, they would have to go through a licensing agreement process with these vendors. But Chapter 1820 actually covers the aquatic preserves, and it would preclude this activity because it damages the resource. I mean, that's a preclusion.
But in the meantime, we could do something.
Yeah. And the
Because it will take them
department,
forever.
you know, said that having an ordinance would make their job easier. There are other counties that have done it, and then they just put that into the plan, and then it's done. So it's an option. I'm willing to take your guidance.
As usual, you do your homework and inform us in a very excellent way. Thank you, Kelly.
I thought you were going to say you
You brought us another
you bring us to
impossible
doozies.
situation.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to County Commission reports and miscellaneous items. I'll start with Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be brief. Had the opportunity last week to share a keynote speech with Chairman Sandy Merman at Invest Tampa Bay, and she was right off the interstate coming back from FAC. But I'll get this routed to everybody, but it's really an economic analysis of Tampa Bay, and they've been down to Miami, Fort Lauderdale. This was their initial Tampa Bay Invest launch party. And the reason I was drafted is it started last year when I was chair and I gave them an interview. But it was really interesting. We had several panels, one on healthcare, one on technology, one on transportation, all private sector folks, along with Baycare and some others on the healthcare platform. We also had PI highlighted in the magazine, St. Pete Clearwater Airport. And really interesting. I know they'll be back next year. Ironically, it was at the Don Cesar, and one of the things I was speaking about was BRT, and it was supposed to stop at the Don Cesar. And Ward Frizzolowski was in the audience, the St. Pete Beach Commissioner, and we had a nice conversation after that, and a nice positive conversation. So I know my colleagues will be talking about that coming up here. On the census, met with the Mayor's Council. They were very supportive. I want to thank Brian Lowak, who was there as well. They're all in. They want to, basically follow the penny for Pinellas model. And Mayor Biljowski suggested we get all the mayors on one PSA, and we're trying to make that happen. Just all talking about the importance of the census. I also talked with the Southside St. Pete Community Summit on Saturday. And talked about how this census will be different. It will be online first, and talked about some of the challenges that might present, but a very supportive group there. I had two members of the committee there, Caprice Johnson and Deborah Figg Sanders, who both serve on the Complete Count Committee. And Carl Lavender from the Foundation for Healthy St. Pete was there as well, and they're supporting this effort going forward. And finally, I wanted to congratulate Ephraim Sykes, who's a St. Pete native, who was nominated for a Tony Award for portraying David Ruffin in the Broadway musical Ain't Too Proud. And you may have heard about his performance Sunday night at the Tonys. It was absolutely fantastic. And he is the son of Pastor Manuel Sykes, who we all know from Bethel Community Church and FAST. And so I wanted to congratulate him on a great job. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Area Agency on Aging, we just had our meeting, nothing too out of the ordinary for the meeting, except that because this organization, the AAA of Pasco Pinellas, has had, I think, a record 10 years of excellent leadership and no findings in any of our audits and reports and all those kind of things, our executive director has been asked by the Secretary of the Department of Elder Affairs and the Governor's Office to assist. There's a similar organization on the East Coast that's not doing as well right now, and so some of our staff will be going over to help with the new executive director there and their structuring. So it's a compliment to her leadership and our great staff there. Historic Preservation Board, I left, came straight here from Safety Harbor where we were having one of our historic preservation summits. We had a great crowd there at the library. The city and the library and everyone there has been great hosts. Comes after Saturday where I was at the unveiling of a state historical marker at the South Ward School just down the road. The Clearwater Historic Society should be congratulated. The facility looks amazing. Had a great crowd. Yeah, the facility is really nice. It's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 to 2. If you have a chance to get down there, it's just a few blocks from here. You'll see the exhibits are really worth checking out, especially if you have a Clearwater history. Homeless Leadership Board, we did pass a initiative to restructure the HLB into 2 separate organizations, a continuum of care, which is what I assume my role will still be there for this year at least, and then the Homeless Leadership Board nonprofit to actually carry out the activities. This is similar to structures around the state. The point of contention, I would guess, that we had and most discussion was that the federal department does not require the COC to operate under what we would be used to with our public records and sunshine law. We had a long discussion and finally did vote 18-6, I think, to require us to operate under sunshine and public records law, so I thought that was the right step. We did have Florida Association of Counties last week where I'm on the board of directors with now Commissioner Long, and there is a dues restructuring for counties, and our dues actually went down $4,000. So I'm saving us money by going over there to FAC.
I was on that committee, by the way.
And
I didn't hear that.
And then last thing is that with Brian Lowak and I attended down at University of South Florida the YMCA Youth in Government Civic Fellows Program. We spoke to about 100 high school students that have an interest in public service in some way. So Brian did a great job, and we had a great group of students there.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Gerard.
Yeah, not much in the way of committees or anything, except that we will have a new board chair at Career Source as of July 1st, because Jack's termed out, but Jack Geller has done an amazing job pulling that thing together. I went with a couple of staff members over to Tampa last week at a big presentation from the EPA for Brownfield grant. I think I was representing you for the Leelman area. So that was neat. It was hot.
Do we have an opportunity to have funding?
Yeah, it's a $300,000 grant that we're getting, and I'm sure they have it spent already. But Chris was there. It was really great talking to Chris and hearing about his ideas and just talking about engagement in that community, which is really great. I mean, to have that kind of community engagement and turnout for the events these have in there is really neat. I also went to a Keep Pinellas Beautiful luncheon where unfortunately they had it at Anona United Methodist Church on the corner of Indian Rocks Road and Wilcox, which was totally blocked for the last 16 days. So the turnout, I don't know how people even got there if they didn't live in that neighborhood. I live right down the street. But how they knew how to get around, you couldn't even get in the church without making a major detour. But it was a nice event.
Wow. Thank you for going to that.
Yeah, it's bad timing. But sidewalks are coming to Indian Rocks Road, yay.
Oh, really?
Commissioner Eggers.
Yeah, well, we had the Forward Pinellas meeting, we had a TMA meeting, we had PSTA, no, we haven't had that yet. We had Tampa Bay Water meeting, all of them with different issues. I'm not going to get into all this stuff. I will say our Tampa Bay Water meeting yesterday went on for 4 hours, and then we took about a 5-minute break and then went into an attorneys, the attorneys for each of the organizations, talking about issues, 8 questions that we came up with regarding interlocal agreements and memorandum of understandings and that kind of thing. So the most bizarre meeting yet. I think the board is very on board with the fact that the state is moving towards potable reuse more and more, and that it needs to be a part of water production, if you will, under the Tampa Bay Water umbrella. So there's a lot of conversation going on about that, and I think we've had some of those issues with the city of Tampa, perhaps now a little bit with Hillsborough County. Because there was a different phase that Tampa was going to be going through, they were going to try to get some money from the state. And the state heard that the Tampa Bay Water was willing to fork up that money if they didn't pass it. Well, they were still in session, and guess what? They didn't pass it. So we agreed to give them money to do some design work in the next year. I know it's bizarre. But nonetheless, we did in the cooperating gesture. We put together an agreement with the city of Tampa, and they came back with 4 questions, all of which were very disruptive. We had some dialogue and back and forth at the meeting, and then a council member from Tampa said, "Well, we withdraw our request. We withdraw everything about this MOU, and we withdraw our request for funding." And we withdraw. And we said, we all kind of looked at each other in disbelief. The staff asked for a 5-minute break, and he came back with a little different tone. But in that process, we withdrew the money. So now they're out for the next year doing design work for this TAP project on their own. And we had worked so hard and so long and spent a lot of time, and nobody had any idea that they were going in that direction. So it's just been one of those kind of years, I think, of miscommunication or...
What kind of good faith is that?
I don't know. It's just, in any event, we got through the meeting, and we have actually started talking about getting rid of the executive meeting and having a second meeting. So we have a monthly meeting, at least for the next year. There's too many strategic issues that are going on, and try to shorten the length of the meetings, but maybe have a few more. So an awful lot going on with Tampa Bay Water and some of the legal issues, et cetera. So we'll keep you apprised of that. And the executive director, Matt Jordan, will have his review in August, which should be an interesting process for sure. At Forward Pinellas, and again, I think the best thing to do would be to send everybody the summary of what occurred during the meeting. I think there was a lot of discussion about Indian hawks in the sidewalk along Gulf Boulevard, and so there was a real good presentation, a real good discussion that ensued about how that's going to happen. There's some work going on out there right now with some undergrounding or some of the flooding issues, if you will, and so that they may have to do 2 separate projects, or maybe a little bit of overlap on costs that makes it a little inefficient, but they're already on that project, and the other projects, it would require some federal funding, so they want to move forward with that. There was a few options that they looked at, and they seemed to come away with option 2, which is about a $10 million cost that they'll be looking for some federal funding on. So that we adopted our transportation improvement program for the coming year. There was a list of transportation priorities addressed, including the ones for the TMA, so there's an awful lot of work going on there. I will send out the summary of the meeting because it too was a long meeting. I think about.
Are we done yet?
We're still in that meeting, right? It was about what was it? About 3.5 hours. So, and I said Commissioner Maroney would not be happy with me at all, as he tried to make sure every meeting was done by 3. Not that he was always successful, but he was pretty good about it. So we've had a couple long meetings, but. So we had that discussion. The TMA, actually, I think the only thing of interest, when there was a lot of discussion, The tension meter was down at the TMA, which was good. We did get them
What?
to.
So either were you in?
The last meeting, it was less tension at that meeting, for sure. I even made a comment at the end about it. But we did get them to say that they would be putting on their list of priorities the TMA's list of priorities, which included the State Road 60, I-275 exchange. So they did agree to that along the way. And I think even at their MPO meeting, they voted 10-6 to move forward with the improvements, short-term improvements that the FDOT is recommending. So an awful lot going on with transportation and transit. I know that you'll have some conversation about that. Tampa Bay Water, all regional stuff, you know, and it's just, you know, it seems like folks from Pasco County and Pinellas County seem to be working together, and we're having a conversion workshop meeting with Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa sometimes, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Be patient and work together on that. Let's see, our Pinellas County School Board met. Not a whole lot was discussed there, except we had quite a bit of problems with passing school buses while the stop sign is out. So we're going to try to go on a campaign in July before school comes out that's a no-no, in case you didn't know, and I thought everybody knew that. Passing on the left side of the bus and passing on the right side of the bus. So we're going to try to get some public service announcements out there to try to correct that if we can. So I'm not going to go on any more on that, just on a couple of other things. The Cypress Run had a meeting up there to discuss some of the issues relating to a piece of property that most people are familiar with, that are looking at annexing into the city of Tarpon Springs. There's an overriding countywide plan issue that corresponds to what the densities are in Tarpon Springs. And so, but they're obviously very concerned, and they had a group meeting up there to talk about that, and are trying to work with our county and our MPO group to make sure they're plugged in with the process there. It just seems strange that when we have a countywide plan that doesn't acknowledge, it acknowledges overlays and our local zoning, but if it does get annexed, basically that overlay goes away. So if it gets annexed, that local overlay and the local zoning that was in place no longer exists. And it seems odd that kind of effort that we make on our own area doesn't translate to that countywide plan a little better, so that it's protected if it does get annexed a little bit better. So I'm just thinking through all of that and trying to maybe see how we can try to address that. I think it's a property rights issue for the people that are buying the property in their application, but also the people who bought into the area and went through the process of that zoning and overlay. So, I did want to thank Raheem Harji and Megan Ross and staff for coming up to CNCN last night to talk about the Reclaimed Water Master Plan. It was a really good turnout. The staff did a good job and a lot of good questions, and I think there's going to be, I think they're interested in the process. I think 6 years to get all of the meters in place is a little bit long. I know that we have some hopes and aspirations to do that quicker, but we're doubling the effort. I guess our water meters have to be replaced, et cetera, so we're going to do that all at the same time. But anyway, I want to thank staff for their efforts. Really appreciate that. And the last two things are happy July 4th to everybody, since that's coming up before our next meeting. And again, wished we could have had some kind of proclamation here recognizing our country's birthday, especially in the times that we're in right now. It seems like we need to all remember the pluses that this country has to offer. And July 4th and that birthday is a great time to celebrate. And then last but not least, I will be heading in the second week of July to a little country in Central America called Honduras. So I'll be down there for a week with my church, and so I'm getting all the shots and all the protections, so make sure that I come back in one piece. I'll try to stay away from you for that first week I get back, but I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a great time. Church has been down there for the last 15 years, and looking forward to participating. But that's all I've got. happy July 4th to everybody.
Okay, great. Commissioner Long.
I don't even know where to start after.
I know, I was just all over the place, sorry.
I'm just kidding, Chair. I'm going to be good. So, let's see, where will I start? Well, you know that there was a tragic assault on one of the Hart bus drivers last month, and I'm very proud to say that PSTA has made that a very big priority for our bus drivers here, and that we have already, as we speak, the new shields for our bus drivers are being manufactured to be installed on all of our buses. So I'm very thankful for Brad's leadership on that. And I do want to talk just for a moment about all of the stuff that you've been hearing about our Central Avenue BRT line from downtown St. Pete out to St. Pete Beach. And it has been a difficult, trying, and real communication challenge to continue to find ways to make that amenable to the city of St. Pete Beach. And I want to assure you that there have been a minimum that I know of 32 meetings with the council, the mayor, and the city manager to try to work through all of the hiccups and the opposition. And we have conceded on every single issue that they had. There are no more 40-foot buses going on to Pass a Grill. None.
60-foot buses.
60-foot buses. Thank you for that, Commissioner. So there are no more of those. We are working now with Pinellas County as a partner to be able to identify, Raheem, thank you for your efforts to work with us, to identify a safe and appropriate turnaround for the buses to go past the resorts and still be able to come back up the beach and travel back down to downtown St. Pete. We continue to move the project forward. I know that the city of St. Petersburg had a fabulous, unanimous vote this last week to approve $4 million for the project, and that was incredibly helpful. And as we get closer to the 60% design completion, we will begin to hold public hearings. We anticipate beginning in August to further engage the public on the project and help educate our citizens about what that line will really look like. This type of investment in our community, as you know, is the very beginning of a much bigger vision, not only for our county, but for our entire region. And we're very proud of the fact that the city and Forward Pinellas have agreed to take an extremely active role in the project. And we're looking forward very much as we come to close on the draft budget for 2020, working with the county and Forward Pinellas and T. Barta and any other folks that want to get involved in the conversation on our funding workshop on transportation to be held on July 18th. And we are expecting a very productive conversation about the entire transportation system. I know Barry's been working on very hard on pulling all of that together. And our next regular board meeting for PSTA is on June 26th at 9 a.m. So board members, don't forget to show up. It's going to be a very important meeting. As far as T. Barta goes, I'm so proud to say that we are really moving that ball down the pike, and we have, we're working really hard. Our finances are in order, thankfully, and we are planning now our legislative strategy for next year, which will be driven by our financial situation and our needs on actually bringing a project to fulfillment. That'll be so great, won't it, after all of the studies that have been done over the last 50 years to finally have a project we can work on? I'm really excited about that. And our next board meeting is this Friday on June 21st. I'm so sorry that I missed the last Forward Pinellas meeting, Mr. Chair. I trust that you'll work hard to, shorten the length of those meetings before you become chair of the county commission would really be good. I also am very proud to be able to represent Pinellas County on the FAC board. I was elected along with Commissioner Justice and Commissioner Welch. That doesn't let you off the hook for the finances, just want you to know.
Still there, yeah.
Yep. And I also was surprised because I hadn't known about it, but Eric Poole, who's the head of our foundation effort for the FAC, appointed me to a small committee that has been formed from the Federal Transit Agency along with the state FDOT to consider sustainability and resilience in their road projects, which I just couldn't be more excited to participate in and let them know all of the good work that we've been doing on our compact. And to that point, I hope that we can have, and I shared with Barry and his staff this morning, that as soon as we have Hank Hody, Hank Hody, our new sustainability person, here to pull together a small workshop of those folks that have been really working hard on this issue to be able to move towards that Ready for 100 initiative that the Sierra Clubs and the environmental groups have been working forward. There are 4 cities now in our county. Largo is one of them. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm sure you are too, Commissioner Gerard, that have passed their resolution and identified their goals. And I spoke to Brian Beckman this morning from that group, and hopefully we can begin to work on that kind of a resolution from the county and move that effort forward through the 27 partners that we have with our compact as our goal for this next year. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation very much. And lastly, I really want to commend Barry and Brian Lowak for their involvement in FAC, because I think it's something that we haven't had before from our county administrator, and I hope you find it as valuable as I do, and the opportunities you have to just meet and interact with our fellow commissioners from around the state of Florida and learn some of the things they're doing in their communities that we can maybe implement here. And I thought that Brian did a great job in his role trying to tie everything together for us as we moved forward through the week. I thought, but he's not here right now, that we could maybe get an update. Maybe you can ask him, Barry, to bring us an update on where we are with our county legislative idea, because several of my colleagues from Pasco and Hillsborough talked about it while we were over there. Brian seemed to have a lot of updated information. I think he's beginning to meet regularly with those folks from our sister counties, and I think it would be nice if we had an update on that. Secondly, I haven't had an update from Mr. Dillinger, and looks like I'm going to maybe miss the next Largo Board of Trustees meeting, but I would like to get an update on where we are with the opportunities with HCA and our mental health issues that we have been talking with them about. And I think that's the end of, and one last thing, not to brag about myself, but I have to let you know, because to me it was a big deal. I did graduate from the Advanced County Commissioner program through FAC, and if you only knew how much effort it took to complete it, it seemed like it took me forever to get that last class in, but I finally did, and it felt good, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I got through almost all, but I either had 1 or 2 courses left.
I know, it's those last couple of ones that just do you in, But anyway, yeah, so I got that behind me.
Way to go.
It's very, very nice. And Lee Constantine is our new second vice president for the state. Just
Who
so-
is?
Lee Constantine, former state senator, former House member, former almost
Seminole
everything.
County.
Seminole County.
Okay. Recognize the name.
He'll do a great job for us.
Great. Okay, mine is very brief. Don, congratulations on 20 years.
Oh my, congratulations.
We were really young back then, weren't we? And then Chuck Freeman, who was with us for 32 years, and I'm not that I'm trying to single out certain people, but there's ones that we had interaction over the years. He just retired, and he was our 911 division director. And you'll remember, especially during hurricanes where we had a lot of interaction, and thank Chuck for his service. JWB is down to the last interviews, hopefully, and that is tomorrow evening. And we have either 2 or 3 candidates. I'm still waiting to hear back on that. And that's all from me. Happy 4th of July. We're thankful that we have our independence as a country. And Jewel has something to announce.
If I can grab each one of you, either now or when we reconvene at 6, we have some paperwork that I need each commissioner to sign in regard to the issuance of the bonds that we did earlier for Dr. Patel.
Okay. So, did you have something, Don?
He's got the paperwork.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right, we will adjourn until 6 o'clock.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
No second line.